And welcome to a brand new life, to a brand new day, all the way from the wastelands of California. My name is Michael, and I am the creator of all that you hear. I look forward to once again serve you those sounds from the underground. First time listeners, turn on, tune in, and drop out. This is a very different kind of show, a place where we don't feel so alone. Let us chase away the light no matter what you at home choose to believe. I do admire you. We're curiosity, live and direct, and in the flesh. You can find the podcast rendition of this program by searching End of Days on all popular platforms, or go to michaeldeacon.com. Now joining me this evening is Ken Klien. He is an author and documentary filmmaker. Ken's interest in film production and writing came after stumbling into the writings of ancient prophets. Ken takes on life's greatest mysteries, rips the cover off, and exposes them through fascinating and riveting films and books. Hello to all of you out there, those listening on YouTube currently, and of course hello to those out there who will catch the replay of the program. I'm glad to be back. The last episode, there were some speed bumps along the way there, but we weathered the storm. Tonight, who knows what will happen? But I always get the program back on board here. And I appreciate all of you out there as well for hanging tight and just sitting back and letting me get the program rolling here. You guys are patient. I really do appreciate that. Now let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's bring on the guest. I'm pretty sure he's ready to go. And Ken, are you there?
I'm here.
Perfect. And you can hear me loud and clear, correct?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear, Mike.
Okay, perfect. And I have to say thank you so much for sharing some of your time here. Welcome to End of Days. And I've been looking forward to talking to you for a long time now.
Really? That's nice. Nice of you to say.
Yeah, the first time I came across you was by complete accident. It was through YouTube. I believe it was the Great Pyramid video.
Oh, yeah. I made 3 of those babies. That was quite a chore going over. Just talking about that today with my son. My first trip over to Cairo to film the Great Pyramid. It's actually a prophecy hidden in stone. And when I discovered all these things, I just had to make a film out of it. And that was quite a journey.
Oh, yes. And this was a very, very long time ago. The first time I came across your video, way before I even had my own show. So finally, it's a wonderful evening here to share the air with you, Ken.
Well, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. And there's a lot to decipher here tonight. But as we begin, I'd first like to go back down memory lane, and then we could branch off from there on several different things. And from my understanding, Ken, you were raised by both parents in what I understand as a religious household, correct?
No, we weren't religious. I'm from a Jewish patriarchy, second generation European. My grandfather was from Hungary, and my grandmother was from Hungary. They were married here in New York, and then on my mother's side from Poland. Both her parents were from Poland, and the Hungarian side, or most all of the extended family, was killed by Hitler. And so I've lost most of my extended family.
Oh, wow.
With the Nazis.
Tremendous. And of course, at the time, you didn't quite understand too much, I would have to imagine, when you were that young, correct?
Yeah, my parents, they weren't very religious. They were Jewish. They didn't go to temple. I wasn't bar mitzvahed. My father wasn't bar mitzvahed, and his father wasn't bar mitzvahed. So we don't have a real religiousness in our family. But when I was about 7 days old, when my parents went out for dinner one night, and my Aunt Jenny babysat me. I was 7 days old. She was a Christian lady, and she baptized me while they were out at dinner. And my parents were so upset. They wouldn't tell me most of my life. Only when I was in my 60s, my mother finally told me, "Did you know that your Aunt Jenny baptized you when you're 7 days old?" So I've always had a very strong reverence for the name of Jesus and who he was, even though I didn't know anything about him.
Really?
And I think it was because of the water baptism that God honored somehow. But I didn't really become a follower of Jesus until I was about 25. So many, many, many years I was in the wilderness, and I ended up being a pretty decent athlete. And actually got a football scholarship at the University of Oregon. And then had a couple shots in the pros with the 49ers and the Houston Oilers. And then I got seriously injured, which I think was a godsend. And I discovered the ancient Jewish prophets and started studying them, studying history. And over the years, now I'm 73, I've learned a lot. And that's why I've written books and produced films.
Understood. And for a moment here, I want you to take us back to your days in the NFL. I believe that's pretty fascinating. And let's see, what time did you play, Ken?
I played in San Francisco. Was in 1967. I was doing quite well, and I got a serious knee injury, and that was the end of that season.
Oh my!
Early on. Yeah, and we had some terrific players. I played with some guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and I really enjoyed playing with the 49ers. And then the next year, I got an offer from the LA Rams. George Allen was the head coach there, but I just didn't feel right about signing. And so I signed with the Houston Oilers. And when I was just about getting ready to go to camp, I in those days I was a gambler, and I used to like to go to Las Vegas to play dice. My Uncle Leo would come out from Detroit, and we'd go to the Sands Hotel and shoot craps.
Ah, okay.
And while I was at while I was at the craps table, and now I'm in Reno right now, so I see all this, everything's gambling over here. It's amazing. My grandson's a great basketball player, so I came over here for this conference. I don't gamble anymore, but in those days I did.
And yeah, for sure. Life is a bit of a gamble, right, Ken?
Anyway, I'm shooting dice and doing good, and this couple next to me says, "Hey, how did we get so good at this?" And I noticed they had a southern drawl. I said, "Where you all from?" And they said, "Well, we're from Houston." I said, "You're not going to believe this, but I just signed a professional football contract with the Houston Oilers." And they said, "Well, let us be your family, when you come to town." And it was Louis and Doris Lavage. They were Jewish people. And so about 2 days before I left for camp, I was staying at my girlfriend's mother's house. And in the morning, I had a vision. I never had a vision before. And this woman was looking down at me, and she had this stern look on her face. And I said, "Well, where am I?" And she said, "Well, you've been in the hospital for 10 days. And then the vision faded and went away, and I forgot about it. Well, 3 months later, I wake up in the hospital, and this woman's looking down at me, and it was Doris Lavage, the lady I met at the crap table, who was taking care of me. And I had seriously hurt my shoulder, and I was coming out of, the anesthetic, and there she was watching over me. And I thought to myself, what in the world was that all about? I just had this vision 3 months prior, and here I am experiencing the very thing I dreamed. And that really changed my life. I started thinking, well, there's another dimension beyond this human, physical, material dimension that exists, and I somehow tapped into it, or it tapped into me, and my life took a different course after that. I didn't care that much about football anymore. I wanted to know about this other dimension.
Right.
That's when I started studying the ancient prophets who seemed to have that ability themselves.
And I have to stop you there for a moment quickly here, Ken, and just say, so you were able to I'm not quite sure if joining the NFL was ever a dream of yours, but you achieved so much. A lot of people would love to be in the NFL. No one really, not too many people get a chance to say they were in the NFL at any time. So it seems like you were able to achieve this fantastic goal here, and you get injured, and you seem to have lost. Is it fair to say that you seem to have lost some of the passion and drive that you once had after this injury?
Well, for sports, for sure, because I began to see that the material world is very temporal, and there's something about the spiritual world that is eternal. And so, I was more interested in the spiritual dimension rather than the physical. So yes, I still like to watch a ball game or two once a year.
Sure.
I enjoy it, but I'm not into it like I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't gamble anymore. I used to have two bookies when I was playing ball and gambled at the games, and I did all that kind of stuff. I was a pretty wild kid.
Oh, you were deep.
But
yeah.
I was. I played defensive back, and I was not that big. I was 185 pounds and 5'10" maybe, and but I was fast and I could hit hard. But that's what brought me down, was hitting hard. I smashed my shoulder up real good, and I had to have surgery, and took me out of my profession. But I'm glad for it. It's really worked out well for me. Sometimes, when we get knocked down, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Sure.
So for me, it was a good thing, and it set me on a course for the next 50 years of my life, and I'm still on it, producing films, writing books, and I'm very glad, and I'm very busy, and I'm very fulfilled. So for me, getting hurt was a blessing from God.
It was a blessing in disguise, in other words.
That's right.
Understood. And Ken, no regrets whatsoever.
None. I mean, I've had an amazing life. I just look at it and went, geez, this is incredible.
Right.
I've got 7 grandchildren. I've got 3 wonderful sons. I've been married for 45 years to the same lady, and I've had an amazing life, and I'm very grateful to God for the life that He's given me.
Understood. And of course, are you excited for Ohio this year?
Ohio?
Yes, college football.
Oh, not Ohio. I don't believe in the Buckeyes. I'm not an Ohio fan. I'm excited for Oregon.
Yes.
I'm an Oregon Duck.
Yes, that was a bit of a sarcasm there, Ken. I just think it's actually very criminal what they do to those college kids, actually, since they make zero money.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it's hard to get an education when you have a full-time job playing football, and it is a full-time job, and it's rough to study when you're tired from working out all day. And it's really, college football is a minor league pro football, and it's preparation for the pros. All the kids that go to school now, most all want to play in the NFL. That's the dream. And so they go to college as a stepping stone. They don't go there for an education anymore. Some do, very few though. And so I agree. I think they should pay the kids, but that's because I played, and that's my bias.
Of course. I just think if you play that hard, you sort of deserve to have that sort of treatment. Since those games are a lot more aggressive, the kids, they wanted more. The rules are less restrictive in college than they are in the NFL, and these kids, they're dying to make it, so they're going to play a lot harder than the pros.
Yeah, and the schools make so much money. It's actually criminal in a way. It's not right, and they don't get a good education, and most of them never make it to the NFL. Like a very small percentage ever make it to the big leagues. And then when you get there, it's unbelievable. Everybody that makes it to that level is a tremendous athlete and great players. And so the competition is fierce. The hitting is unbelievable. The talent is over the top. And so for people to make it in the NFL or in basketball, it's just it's
so hard.
Really very, very tough. Very tough.
Yes. By the way, the NCAA they make a reported, last time I checked, at least $10 billion.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't pay that much attention to that anymore. But I'm for the kids. I'm for them making a few bucks before they get mangled, because you get hurt. I mean, in football, it's 100% you're going to get hurt. 100%.
Guaranteed.
Everybody gets hurt.
Yeah. And then once you do get injured, it's basically over. For a lot of them, there's nothing for them to fall back on.
That's right. The average NFL player makes it 2 to 3 years, and he's done. Kids go on that route to have it's a tough way to make a living. Very tough.
definitely. And that reminds me of what goes on in the NFL in terms of some of the fundraisers that they do. Lots of that money doesn't go back to some of those places they were intended to go to. The NFL seems to keep some of that money.
Well,
That's a different issue, though. That's a completely different thing
business.
there. Yes. So, Ken, after all these things happened, you were just overwhelmed by your own personal experience, and it drove you deeper into religion per se. And at that point, how exactly did you come so, I guess you could say, fascinated with Egypt? And you've spent a long time there yourself.
Everybody's fascinated with Egypt. It's mysterious.
Right.
I'm not really religious. I'm not a religious person. I don't go to church. I don't follow rules and regulations. That's not me. I follow Jesus, and that's it. And I don't belong to any organized religion. And I wouldn't recommend everybody do that, because you have to have a real strong operational faith to do what I do. And I do have a strong faith, and I seek the Lord every day, and I study the scriptures just about every day, and I write every day, and I produce every day. So I'm very busy in the work of the Lord, but I'm not a religious person.
Well,
people don't know how to characterize it, and people try to. I said, "Well, are you a Methodist? Are you Lutheran?" I went, I'm not into religion. I'm not into organized religion."
Yes.
And, I don't,
understood.
So I love God. I love Christ. I love the Holy Spirit. I love people, and that's if you want to call that my religion, that's my religion. But I don't have any specific creed.
Sure.
You know? I just follow the Lord, and I try to do His will and produce things that encourage people to seek Him. That's what I do.
Understood.
My pyramid films are all about a prophecy out of the book of Isaiah. It's a prophecy in stone that was given to the prophet Isaiah, and I produce those 3 films to help people see that God is real. He's alive, and He wants to be known, and He wants us to know Him. So that's what I do. That's my religion. Yes. If you want to call it religion, that's fine with me.
Understood, Ken. I was just comparing you to, let's say, myself. I'm not exactly religious, so I was just saying, well, compare to me. You're a lot more religious than I am. To be honest with you, I'm an agnostic atheist. That for those out there that don't know, that basically means I can't prove or disprove God, but I always keep Jesus in my back pocket. You never know, Ken.
Well, I can tell you, I know Him, and He's real, and He reveals Himself to me almost every night. I have visitations every night.
Amazing.
Almost every night. Yeah, almost every night I'm visited by angels. They visit me, I can't see them with my eyes, but they visit me in my dream states. I'm constantly being tapped on the shoulder, and where I'm getting guidance and leanings from God, and messages from Him continuously. And so I can tell you, He's real, and He wants to be revealed to everyone, because He loves everyone, and He wants to be known to everyone. And it's just that, you really have to seek Him if you want to know Him. And that's what faith is. It's seeking. And I'm a seeker. And so religion doesn't necessarily allow you to have revelations and dreams like I have. Creeds are not revelations. They're just dogmatic statements. And so I want to know I want to know God who's alive and who made the universe. I want to know Him. That's who I want to know. And I'm knowing Him. And I want people to know that they can know Him too. That's why I write books. That's why I wrote this present book. That I'm assuming that's something you might have got a hold of or something. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
But I have this book called The Deep State Prophecy.
We'll get there,
and
yes.
The last from, it came from Him. It's a message from Him. So there you go.
Understood. And Ken, if Jesus were alive today, Do you think he would be a conservative or a liberal hippie? That is kind of humorous, by the way. You can laugh. It's okay.
You know, God isn't a politician, and he's not an American. People try to make Jesus look like Uncle Sam.
Sure.
You know, and he's not politically orientated. We are political. Humans are, because politics is the process whereby men determine how they'll be ruled on the earth. And God has his own kingdom. You know, it's different than men's kingdoms.
Yes.
And I'm a citizen of that kingdom. It's called the kingdom of God. Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world," and he pointed it out to us that he's outside. I mean, he gets somewhat involved in the political world, but for the most part, he doesn't, because his kingdom isn't of this world. So, of another dimension.
Right.
And when I had that dream, at my girlfriend's mother's house,
Yes.
that was the beginning of my introduction into that dimension. And it's only gotten more intense, and it continues to become more intense.
Yes, we're
and
gonna.
So I try to report about God's kingdom and how he speaks, so people can begin to develop an ear for him.
Oh yes.
Because he's trying to get our ear. He really is.
Well, definitely.
He said it himself. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And so I'm somebody that's leaning hard on trying to hear him. That's what I do.
Right, and we'll be talking about dreams in a moment here. We'll circle back to this. But the reason why I said liberal hippie, and I like having fun with that question, I must admit, it stems from various things that I've read and heard in terms of Jesus going to India. A lot of the baby boomer generation has stuck to the New Age movement, the Eastern philosophy out there, those sort of teachings. And a lot of these individuals, they talk about Jesus going to India. There's been a number of books as well on the secret life of Jesus. I found pretty fascinating. Have you read anything about that, Ken?
Well, I don't particularly give much attention to that stuff. People write about all kinds of
Sure,
things,
yes.
and philosophies, and I'm not into philosophies. I'm not into any of that. I'm into revelation. And revelation is of a different substance than philosophical, mental jangling of ideas. There's a difference between the spirit and the soul. And the word soul in the Bible is the word suke. And the word suke is the word psyche. And that's our soul. Our psyche is our soul. But there's a part of us that's called pneuma, spirit. And that's separated from psyche. And the Bible teaches that there's a separation between soul and spirit. And so what I want to help people develop is that spiritual side of them that eventually flows into the soul, but the soul doesn't lead the spirit. The spirit is to lead the soul. And so we need to have our spirit amplified. And the amplification of spirit is from God's spirit, and not from philosophies or mental considerations. Men are biased towards their psychological computer system, not the computer system of their spirit. There's people's spiritual computers is pretty much very unoperative. It doesn't operate for most people. Even for Christians, it's mostly, Christianity is mostly a mental game rather than a spiritual reality. So I'm into spiritual reality, and Jesus never went to India. And people try to make that connection because they think India is really spiritual.
Yeah, you definitely have heard of what I'm referring to then.
Sure.
Okay.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down the pike for 50 years.
No doubt then.
Haven't missed too much. I'm not saying I know it all, but the reality of Jesus is that he wants to reveal himself and his kingdom to us. And it's not of this world, and it's not of human imaginations and philosophical wranglings and ideas. I mean, there's all that out there. I mean, communism is a philosophical idea that was created by Frederick Engels and Karl Marx in London. And that's pretty much sweeping the world. And it is what is happening in the United States in the stepping stone, which is socialism. This is all philosophical stuff that has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with what he wants for mankind. His kingdom is a kingdom of righteousness and peace and love. That's the kingdom of God. And you can't legislate that through politics, and you can't bring it about by force. It's something that is received by faith. And that's what is so wonderful about Jesus Christ.
Right.
Is that he wants to give that to every one of us without cost. There's no cost to it. It's just a matter of choosing him and seeking him. And then it's continuously provided ongoingly and expansively. So that's the good news that I preach and what I try to help people connect with. And that's why I water the seeds that I plant with what I do in films and books.
Yes, and there's another individual out there who I'm pretty sure is an atheist. His name is Joseph Atwill. He is the author of a book that basically they talk about Jesus being an invention by the Romans.
It's nonsense.
Yes. I'm just curious what you would say about that.
That is so dumb. It's so foolish. It's somebody that's ignorant of anything that's been written by men of God from the beginning all the way through time, even up to Jesus, the predictions of Jesus by prophets, the people that foreshadowed Jesus in the history of the Jewish people, the 10 Commandments that were given by God to Moses are precursors of his kingdom. I mean, for somebody to say something like that, I don't know why anybody would pay attention to that kind of nonsense that's based upon human speculation and no substantive facts from history or from people from holy men of God that have written, so that we could have some prophetic realities that would precede the realities that manifest. So people that talk like that aren't worth listening to. It's just foolishness.
Yes, the name of the book is Caesar's Messiah, the Roman conspiracy to invent Jesus. And that's Joseph Atwill. I haven't read that book myself, but I did. I've been seeing that book for a while, and a lot of different people have been bringing it up to me. And I just wanted to get your first initial reaction. And now I've got it, Ken.
Well, prophets wrote things down so that when the things would come to pass, you know that God spoke.
Right.
For example, when God spoke to Moses, he said, Moses, I want you to go talk to Pharaoh. Moses says, well, how will I know? And then he said, I want you to bring all my people out of Egypt, bring them over here to Mount Sinai. I'm going to give you a thing called the Old Covenant, which is the law. And Moses said, well, how do I know? How do I know you're talking to me? And how do I know this is true? And God says through an angel to Moses, because an angel was the one that was speaking to him, presence, an emissary, a proxy for God. And he says, because when you get here to Sinai, you'll know that I spoke. That's some prophecy. Go do it, and then when it happens, you'll see that it's true. Jesus said the same thing. I'm going to tell you many things so that when they come to pass, you know that I spoke. I mean, it's just like that dream I had.
Yes, your dream.
Like, oh my gosh, I had a dream and it came to pass. Oh my gosh, somebody's trying to tell me something. I didn't make that up. How could you make something like that up? So when prophets spoke about in the old days, the old times, and they came to pass, you'll know that this is an authentic word from God because it's telling you the future before it happens. And when the future happens, you go, well, you know what? This must have been God because it was spoken way back, hundreds of years ago, just like the dream I had that was 3 months delayed. So one of the great prophecies of the Bible in the book of Revelation is a prophecy that there'd be 7 empires in the world before Christ returns. 7. And it explains them. And those empires have pretty much come, and we're right in the 8th right now. We're in the 8th empire right now, just like the prophecy says. So when these things happen, you go, well, how can you listen to an atheist that's just spinning yarns and coming up with speculations? Why listen to somebody like that when you have this sure word of prophecy? Makes no sense to me. Why
Understood.
waste time?
Yes, Ken. And of course, I was curious to ask you why you didn't go back to Judaism and why you went to Christianity later on in your life.
Well, first of all, I'm not into Christianity. Christianity has been perverted, polluted. It's been misrepresenting God. I met Jesus. I met the one who Christianity's about. I know the real deal. I know him. Okay? So why would I want to go back to something that's bankrupt? Judaism is a bankrupt covenant. In fact, it's been done away with by God. The book of Hebrews says it's obsolete, that the law has been done away with. Jesus, when he died, was saying, behold, I give you a new covenant. I'm going to give you a whole new deal. Not like the old one that I gave it in the wilderness, which he meant was Mount Sinai. I'm going to give you a whole new deal. Why would I ever want to go back to an old deal that it's not even useful anymore? Why would I do that? I'm involved in a covenant that is real, alive, and it's so exciting. Why would I ever want to go back to something that's dead? That's what Judaism is. And I never really was into Judaism anyway, growing up. I told you, my aunt baptized me when I was 7 days old. I've never really thought about Judaism that much, never was bar mitzvahed. And as I studied it over the years, I go, well, there's a lot of people into Judaism.
Sure.
But it's dead. It's dead. It can't provide righteousness. It's just a religious observance. The same thing as Catholicism or even the high church, Christian churches, Lutheranism. They're all dead. It's dead. It's not alive by the Spirit of God. So I don't want to know that.
I can agree with you on that.
It doesn't interest me to keep rituals and practices that don't provide me the energy and life force of the living God. I want to know him. I don't want to know dogma. I'm not interested. It doesn't get me going. I like revelation. I like to know him. And when I study, I get revelation. And at night in the dreams, I get visitations. I mean, that's amazing stuff.
I agree.
I don't know why everybody.
Yes.
I don't know why everybody doesn't want that. Like, well, it's just flabbergasted.
I think some people are just afraid of having dreams. Period, Ken. I think some of them just freak out.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah.
You know, but if you ask God to give you a fish, he isn't going to give you a snake. He's a good God. He's not a bad God. That's who he is. He's a God of love and peace and joy. And it's just like if your son asked you for, a hamburger, are you going to give him a rotten egg?
Right.
No, you're going to give him a hamburger because
yeah.
you love him, right? Well, God is much greater than we are. Certainly, he's going to be greater than us in loving us. So God doesn't give us snakes when we ask him for a fish.
Yes, there's some strange things I've read over time in the Talmud, specifically about Jesus burning in basically a boiling excrement. I always thought that was pretty amazing. Wow.
The Jews, and I'm a Jew. The Jews have no love for Jesus Christ. They think he was an imposter. They can't accept him as their Messiah. And they have nothing nice to say about it. They're going to invent all kinds of things based upon their bias and hatred. I mean, after all, they're the Jews, my people, the Sanhedrin, were the ones that crucified.
Pretty shocking.
Not all Jews, dislike Jesus. There's plenty of them that love Jesus. But the church at the beginning was all Jews, and then God opened the doorway to the Gentiles. So he doesn't make a distinction between Jew or Gentile anymore. But in the beginning, there were Jews that loved Jesus, followed Jesus, but there was a lot of Jews that hated it. And those are the ones that wrote evil things about him. Those are the ones that stoned him to death when he died on a tree. And so there's that side of the Jews, but they have nothing good to say about him. None of them.
Understood. And I'm curious what your opinion are on other individuals out there. For instance, a good example would be like a Ken Ham. He has the whole creationist museum. What's your opinion on him for a change here?
Well, I don't know him, and I don't know much about the Creationist Museum, and it's not my place to criticize. I don't like to criticize anybody,
Sure.
whether a pastor or a political character. I don't like doing that because none of my business for the most part. I just like to give glory to God and lift up Jesus. I don't see the point of criticizing or having opinions about people or what they do. I mean, everybody has to give an account for what they do eventually.
No, I
And
agree with you on that, Ken. I'm just very curious what your thoughts were on people like Ken Ham or other pastors who have become millionaires, and lots of times these individuals have misled their own flock. I just thought, well, it's interesting that they would go that way.
there, historically, there have been heretics. There have been people that claim to be Jesus. There's a guy out today that says he's Jesus.
Sure, yeah.
There are people that have misrepresented Jesus throughout history. The Catholic Church would kill Jews if they didn't convert, and religious organizations have persecuted other peoples, and that's not where I'm coming from.
No problem.
And that's none of my business. I have to give an account for my life. And I don't want to give an account for other people's lives. That's between them and God, and it's a fearful thing to have to give an account for your life. And so I have great reverence for the Lord, and I have a great respect for His righteousness. And I don't ever see very much criticism of any person in the Bible by people that were appointed by God to do anything. There's some occasions, but very, very seldom. And I kind of like to stick to that kind of a point of view with regard to dealing with people that have specific things that they're doing and trying to do for God. Even people that make a lot of money, it's none of my business. I mean, if that's what they're doing and they think they're doing God's will, it's none of my business, really. God will judge righteously in the day when He returns. And
Great point.
I'm happy to let Him do that.
Yes.
I'm not smart enough. I'm just simply not smart enough.
Oh, yes. We don't see the world through their eyes neither. So you have to leave that one up to someone else. And of course, I was curious also to mention this earlier. A few years back when I did come across your YouTube channel, I do recall you saying something that is something I've been echoing for a while now, and it seems like it's very true. You said, know how to discern the truth, and that seems like that sort of concept is partially void in America, in American society rather, today. Would you agree with that, Ken?
I think it's the world's struggles with that one. I don't think it's germane to just the United States, but certainly
the world,
it's true
right?
Of this country. The whole world is struggling with knowing the truth. It's everywhere. I mean, you look in any country of the world, and every single country is struggling with knowing the truth. It's a global problem, and it's becoming more manifested to our thinking here in the United States when we see the confusion in the political world. I mean, it's wow, it's like insanity.
It is, yeah.
So the average person's left with like, well, how am I supposed to know what's right and wrong? And that's exactly what's happening is people can't tell what's right and wrong anymore. They don't know the simple common sense idea of right and wrong. And so, we're in perilous times. We're in a perilous time where people are being destroyed inwardly. Their inner person is being corrupted and destroyed. And so it's a very dangerous time to be alive because of that fact. And the chaos that we're seeing is actually orchestrated by the demonic realm, and people that are tuned to that realm seem to have a lot of money, and they use their money to instigate more chaos because they think they have the answers to the chaos. And that's their mantra. Out of chaos comes order, because they have the answers. They have the gigantic computer systems that compute the answers for how we'll come out of all of this nonsense that we're seeing, in our country and around the world. And most likely, I think it will be a new world financial system. And that'll be the way they control people.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that, Ken.
Yeah, I think it'll be through money, because money is the god of this world. It rules everything. I mean, I'm in Reno, Nevada, and people sitting at these slot machines, pumping in quarters and dimes and dollars. I went, what? How could that be pleasurable? It's like crazy. It's like, look at that. I go, this is the height of insanity. Well, they're here because they want to make a lot of money on hit the jackpot. So they're ruled by the love of money.
Yeah, there's some people.
Wrong with money. It's the love of money that is the root of evil. And so the people that rule the world got a real leg up on gaining control of money in the 17 and 1800s. And that's why I did this. That's what this current book I've written on is about.
Aren't you glad, Ken, that you're not one of those individuals who spends their entire time at a casino late at night?
I don't see that. What a waste of time. I don't see the point. I'm like, really? That's what your life is about? Is like going to a casino that's smoke filled?
There are people that are really into that, Ken.
I know. But everybody to a degree is controlled by money. That's the point. I mean, we have money to go buy food. If we don't have food, we're going to die. So money rules the world, and who rules money rules the world. And the people that control money are it's the banking cabal that rules all the banks of the world. And we can't see it. Humans can't see through it. But it's been in place now for several hundred years. And in our country, in the United States, it formalized and manifested in 1913 in the Federal Reserve System. And the Federal Reserve System is not federal, and it's not a reserve. It's the Western branch of the Bank of England. And people don't know that. I mean,
yes.
We're just ignorant. We're ignorant of that. We just don't know the facts of history.
That is the proverbial yoke around our necks there, Ken.
That's right. But it's all prophesied in the Bible. That's what's amazing, that these things were written down long ago, thousands of years ago, for our instruction, so that when they come to pass, that we'd know that God spoke. We can have confidence in his a word to us, and we could see the prophecies form even in our own lifetime as they manifest on the earth. So that's the truth. That's the truth that people are missing. And so what I try to do is try to take people to the top of a mountain, and so they can see far off. I try to give people far away eyes, far off vision, farsightedness. Most people are nearsighted, and all they can do is see the trees they're walking amongst. But I try to take people to the top of the mountain so they can see the forest from the trees. That's what I do.
I like that. And of course, you also mentioned that you believe people are insane. And I think a majority of the people out there are kind of insane. And Ken, you're right. There's a lots of individuals out there that I've met, highly respected, educated, academic types that I've met them throughout the years. And for individuals who at times are extremely intelligent, a lot of the areas in their thinking process, in my opinion, they have a number of blind spots, and they also tend to have a lack of common sense, I've noticed.
When you live amongst the trees, that's about all you can see. And when you get to the top of the mountain, you go, oh, you know what? I didn't know there was a lake down there. How about that? Yeah, that's a blind spot I had because I was living amongst the trees. Academians and theologians pretty much are alike. They see only with their psyche. They don't see with their spirit. And going to the mountaintop is beginning to develop a spiritual vision. And that's my calling. I'm trying to help people with spiritual vision, not psychological vision. because the psychological vision is like a laptop computer compared to a mega computer that runs the Pentagon or the whole world order. I mean, our spirits are powerful things that have their own computing system, and their ability to see far off. And so, people that relegate wisdom to the realm of the soul or the psyche are not using their full capacity of their spirit. And when Jesus came, he healed blind eyes. And everybody thinks of, well, when you heal a blind man, well, that's really a miracle. The blindness is in us. It's the ignorance and the blindness inside of us that he wants to heal, not just physical eyes, not just broken limbs. He's trying to heal our eternal being. That's what he's up to. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to heal our inner man. That's why he says, my kingdom is not of this world. And that's what we want people to find, his kingdom within themselves. And you can't acquire it just by saying, well, the kingdom's within, so therefore, no, it has to be received. It has to be pursued. It has to be grasped. And that has to happen through Jesus himself. So he doesn't give it unless we come through his means, which is we have to pass through his death. We have to pass through his death, and when we do, we get his resurrection. His resurrection is his kingdom. The resurrection life of Jesus that brought him back from the grave is a life that he wants us to have. Resurrection life, not just human life. Resurrection life, eternal life. That's what he wants for the human race. That's what he's trying to do for the human race. But people have to die, in a sense, not physically, but to themselves. There has to be some kind of a death to the self. And self is psyche, soul. So there has to be a death. And I came to that point myself when I was 25. I went, something's wrong with this world, and something's wrong with me. And I'm going to give my life over to Jesus. And I did. And when I gave my life over to Jesus, 100%, I said, this is it. I might as well go live in a monastery. My life is over as far as pursuing women and drinking and gambling, all that stuff. I'm going to turn from that, and I'm going to turn to Jesus. Give my life to Jesus. And when I did, he began to reveal himself to me. And it started changing my inner man. It started changing who I was. I'm not who I was. I'm a whole new person. And people that knew me back when I was in college, they wouldn't recognize me today. They might physically recognize me, but they'd never recognize me in my true person, because I'm a different person.
Yes, and Ken, by the way, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how old are you now?
I'm 73.
You do not look 73, by the way. You really don't.
I appreciate it. My wife, I think, might agree with you.
Yeah, you look very healthy, my friend.
Well, that's what happens, when you really turn your life over. It's almost like you don't age anymore in the inner person. I'm still a young man. I don't see myself as old, except after I go ride my bike 20 miles.
Yeah, sure. A little bit of aches and pains there.
A few aches and pains, but that's in my physical person.
Sure.
That's not who I am. My physical body, my physical person is not who I am. I'm a spiritual person. And it's a whole different thing. We're a dichotomy. We're in the inside, we're spirit, and the outside, we're material, flesh. And we have to learn how to discover and walk in our spirit, who our real person is. And so life for every human being is an identity crisis. Every human being has an identity crisis. Yeah. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? That's the big thing of life. Well, I know who I am. I know why I'm here, and I know I even know why I got here, and I know where I'm headed. And I want people to know the same thing I know. I mean, I'm not into a popularity contest. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not even trying to be wealthy. I don't even care.
Sure.
I just want to know God, and I want people to know God. That's it for me. And when my days are done, I'll be happy to leave here, because I think the whole earth is an insane asylum.
It really is. This is a prison planet. You're correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And our bodies are chains and ropes that we are when we not only live in a prison, we live in chains, and emotional chains and psychological problems and and all kinds of diseases within our inner person that we have to learn to get rid of. They're killing us, and the average person doesn't even know that he's sick. Doesn't even know. I mean, that's why Christ came to the earth, was to heal the sick and to raise the dead. And when I say raise the dead, I'm not just talking about literally being dead, but the dead in heart, the dead in spirit.
Yes.
He wants to raise the dead. So that's it. That's who he is, and that's what he wants.
Understood. And of course, your book, The Deep State Prophecy and the Last Trump. Tell me about that book. And is any of this leading up to an end time scenario?
Well, those are two huge questions. But the deep state isn't just the politics going on inside the Beltway. The deep state goes back many hundreds of years, and it began to become manifested in its last stage during the British Empire. And that sounds like, oh, well, that's a stretch. But really, the accumulation of wealth and power happened in the 1800s. And in a political sense, in a political construct, it began with the East India House, which was owned by Nathan Rothschild, who became the richest man in the world. And the Rothschilds to this day are the masters of banking globally. The East India House is where Darwinism developed. It's where Thomas Malthus, who constructed eugenics, who Margaret Sanger followed and developed Planned Parenthood, which is proponent of abortion, and Karl Marx and Frederick Engels were also part of the East India House, and they invented communism, which is godlessness, and they were bought and paid for. These guys that formed this house, and there were many guys in that house that were part of it. Cecil Rhodes, it was one of the greatest proponents of British imperialism that ruined China and India, and millions of people were murdered and killed as a result of the East India House. And the East India Company was the company that had their ships in the Boston Harbor trying to conquer the United States in the First Revolutionary War. So you can see this East India House and this which was the think tank for the East India Company. The barons of finance and the Rothschilds go back hundreds of years. And so the deep state really began to develop in its seventh form, which was the seventh empire of the world, which was a biblical prophecy in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and the books of Daniel. Hundreds of years ago, it began in its seventh head, and then it says there'll be an eighth that comes out of the seventh, and that eighth head would follow the death of the seventh head, which was killed by a great sword, and that great sword was the manifestation of the two world wars. The great sword. It talks about these four horsemen of the apocalypse, and the second horseman has a great sword, takes peace from the earth, and certainly World War I and World War II took peace from the earth. So just as the prophecies report in the book of Revelation, now we're seeing the manifestation of the eighth head, which has come out of the seventh, which is really the ghost of the British Empire, and it's called the United Nations. The United Nations has stepped out on the shores of Manhattan. I filmed this film in New York. I made a film, by the way, out of this book too, which is coming soon. But the book is all about this prophecy that goes back in time and explains it, rolls it out so people can clearly see that God spoke this long ago, so that when it would come to pass and we could see it, we know that he spoke. And when we know he speaks, we have faith. We start having faith in God. So this book is a prophecy that is coming to pass in our time. These are the seems to me to be the way the chaos is accelerating, a part of the plan of destabilizing the nations to bring it into a new world order. It's what George H. Bush prophesied about in the 1990s. His father, Prescott Bush, helped build the CFR in the United States, which is the western branch of this East India House that went underground, became known as the Chatham House in the 20th century. And so we're seeing all these things happen, but the average person can't see it because they're in the trees and they're not
consumed. Yeah, well, they're consumed by all kinds of things.
This book is a mountain. Pardon me?
I was just saying the mass majority out there, and I hate to say this, but they are consumed by things that don't necessarily matter.
Of course. That's the chaos of the world. We're so distracted by sports and other things. Pornography is a big thing today. It's a cultural warfare weapon against us to bring down our nation state. And so we have this guy today, Donald Trump, who's trying to fight against this new world order. So we're seeing in him a man fighting against the paradigm of globalism, which is a worldview. And the people that want this worldview are the same people that composed the East India House. They wanted a new world order fashioned after the British Empire. Nothing's really changed. It's the same thing. And all these globalists want this worldview. They want to bring heaven to earth by their own hand. Not going to happen.
Interesting.
And Donald Trump, who's a very flawed man, a fragile man, is trying to do his best to hold back the water from bursting the dike. It's going to break. He can only hold it back so long, and it's going to break, and then we're going to have this full-blown new world order, and it'll be run with a whole new money system, and it's coming. And if you can't see it coming, you're blind. You're living in the trees, not on the mountaintop. So that's why I wrote the book. It's a prophecy coming to pass right before our eyes.
Understood. And when I first learned that when I first learned that he was actually going to run for president, I was actually quite shocked. But then I thought of all the other times I've seen him in the media going way back. I thought, well, actually, I'm not as surprised as I should be. It seems like the writing was on the wall. And for a long time, I've never really liked him personally. But then as time has gone by, I slowly had a change of heart. I started slowly liking him because he's always been someone who is a bit of a wild man. Going back throughout the years, I'm sure he's changed, of course, but I always thought he was an interesting individual, regardless of his political ideology. I always felt he was a pretty entertaining individual, and seeing him as the president, it kind of blew my mind, Ken. And he hasn't exactly been doing a terrible job. He's been doing quite well, especially for someone who has no experience out there. This has been a great run for him. I will say that, Ken.
Yeah, I honestly, this book isn't about Donald Trump.
Sure. I'm just mentioning the president here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. He's very flawed, man. He committed a lot of sins. He seems to have changed in the last 10 years from his old self, just like I did. I was a gambler. I was a womanizer. I was a wild man. And yet, when I gave over to Christ, my life changed. He seems to have done that, even though there's a lot of his old personality there. We have to give him time and not be so hard on him, even though he's the president of the United States. There's been worse presidents than him going back in history, much worse. And so I think, too, he's trying to – I see him as trying to restrain evil and be an enforcer of the law. I mean, what's wrong with the Constitution? It's pretty good. And he seems to be a moral man, even though he might have been immoral in the past. He seems to be trying to do what's right, and he loves his country. He loves the military. I think he's doing a good job too. He's not perfect, that's for sure. He's got a lot of flaws, but we have to pray for him. That's really key, instead of criticizing him.
He's kind of like our JFK in a way.
I love JFK. I really love JFK, and he was a womanizer, but he did some great things.
Sure.
And he was killed. He was killed because he defied the New World Order. He wanted to go back on a gold standard, and he wanted to expose secret societies. And certainly the East India House is a secret society. And so they took him out. They couldn't have a guy like him. That's why when I look at Trump, I go, I wonder how long they're going to tolerate him before they take him out. because he's trying to do the very same thing that Kennedy did when he was killed.
I think some people already have tried.
Certainly have. He's hated. But, they hated Jesus. Jesus, they thought, was a bad guy. They thought he was a whoremonger, a wine bibber, a sorcerer, blasphemer. And that's why the order of the day, the Sanhedrin and the Romans hated him. They wanted to kill him, and they did.
Amazing. And I did want to slowly change pace here, Ken, as we wind things down a bit here. I did want to talk about a very pivotal moment. It was the time America found itself in the point of no return, in my opinion, Ken. I, of course, am referring to September 11th, and of course, we are only about 109 days away. And I still recall a time when the aftermath brought the entire country together momentarily, such a feeling that has never once been recaptured again. And it's really incredible. At that time, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be a much better place if we could keep this sort of energy together? And of course, it could always never be that way. That's not the reality that we have in front of us. That's not what we live with today. There's got to be a balance. What's your take on that, Ken?
Well, the whole issue of Islam is we can do another show on it if you like down the road, but you're getting into a topic here that's going to take some time to explain. I can do it, and I have a pending book in mind for it.
Nice.
But I hesitate to try to get into that, to deal with it at the end of the show, because it's really something that we should do later in greater detail, and I'd be happy to come back and do that for you. But what we're experiencing with this Islamic thing is nothing new. This goes back thousands of years, and it's an ancient hatred that we're seeing manifest now all over the planet. But again, I don't want to get into it.
It's okay. We could keep it light. It's fine. We could definitely keep things light here. We don't have to go into a great detail, Ken. It's all good. But of course, this new book that you are releasing, it seems, is this something that will be out by this year, Ken?
Well, the book is out. It came out in February. It's doing very good.
Oh, okay.
It's available at Amazon.com. It's the only place where you can get the book. Amazon is the place where it can be secured. You can get it in what do they call it when you can download it to your computer? You can get it in that form.
PDF format.
Or you can buy you can get it from them in that format, or you can get hard copy from them as well. Amazon.com. Just go there and look for The Deep State Prophecy and the Last Trump, or my name, Ken Klien, Klein, and you can find the book without too much trouble.
Understood. I just keep thinking right now that we learned that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and a lot of good people died because of it, for nothing really. And just like countless other times our nation's history, we've lost good people over nothing.
Well, Jesus said there's going to be wars and rumors of wars up until the end. He predicted that nothing's going to change from the time of his death all the way to when he returns. And of course, we're seeing all of that continually. So there's hardly ever been a time in human history where there hasn't been war. It's
Absolutely.
The nature of humans to have war. It's in their bodies. Our bodies are at war with everything and everybody. And our bodies are an unruly evil. And that's why we have to learn how to control it through the Holy Spirit of God. And so there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
That are happening today have happened, and they will happen. And up until the end, we can expect it. And it's sad, and we don't want to see it, but there's no stopping it. We can't fix the world. We can't fix our bodies. That's why they have to go into the ground, into dust. It's unfixable. The only hope for mankind is the Son of God, is Jesus Christ, and him alive in us, not in some dead church, not in some dead cathedral. That doesn't cut it. It's alive in us, in our physical. And there's a separation between the physical and the spirit. and we have to learn how to grow our spirit. That's the task before humans. That's what God wants to do and is trying to do. And I think most people that are Christians think, well, when I die, I'll go be with Jesus. But that's not really what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches that when we pass from here, if we're equipped properly, we go into the universe, the physical universe that we see up there. That is our destiny. That is where we go. That is the heavens of the Father's house. The Bible calls it the Father's house. And then after we finish our chores there, where it says we go to establish the heavens, or to build the heavens, or to cultivate, or to plant the heavens, Isaiah. It says in the book of Isaiah, the prophets, that our destiny is to go into space. And in order to go into space as proxies for God, almost like messengers or angels, we have to put on Christ. We have to wear him. We have to learn how to put him on. And that doesn't just happen by osmosis. It's an aggressive pursuit that he's calling us to, so that we've been clothed with the equipping righteousness of God to actually go in and be his representatives throughout the universe. That's our destiny. Not just sit on some cloud and sing hallelujah. That's not it. That's the wrong idea. We have a great destiny ahead of us, and we have to prepare for it like you'd prepare. Like when I used to play football.
Oh, yeah.
On Monday morning after our Sunday game, they would give us a scouting report of the next team, say the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, okay, they have this guy named Dick Butkus. They got Gale Sayers. They got these amazing players. We have to prepare for them. Here's how we do it. Well, we have to practice against their tendencies. And what do? Well, on first down, they run this play most of the time. And we'd have to study this scouting report. We had to prepare for the next team. We didn't just show up. And we have to prepare for our destiny. And time's a wasting, folks. Time's a wasting. It's time to get on with this, because the world's passing away. You can see it with your own eyes. It's insanity. It's insanity. So if you watch CNN or Fox or CNBC or all the media outlets, you're just going to get pissed off all the time. It's not the way. You have to seek Christ. You have to seek Christ. Because this world can't be fixed. There's nothing political that can be done that can fix the world. Never. Look, it's like 6,000 years, 7,000 years have passed. Has anything really changed? Nothing's changed. It's the same nonsense.
Same thing.
So we can't fix it. Trump can't fix it. Nancy Pelosi can't fix it. Chuck Schumer can't fix it. Nobody can fix it.
Isn't it interesting though, Ken, that there's a lot of individuals out there, lots of groups that they really fully wholeheartedly believe that these individuals will somehow be some sort of a savior, no matter which political figure you want to talk about, or possible political figure, or maybe even presidential candidate, for an example. A lot of these people, they really hold these people up really high, almost like a deity, Ken.
Well, yeah, but one of the first commandments, thou shalt have no other Elohim before me. God,
right.
The word is God's Elohim. Yeah. And yet that's what we do. Men idolize women. They actually, that's what people get hurt with, these love affairs, because they exalt a woman above God, or women exalt a man above God, or congregations exalt the pastor above God. No, God wants to have a personal relationship with each person individually, not through somebody else. And so when we think that we can find some kind of savior through a man or an organization or a political construct,
that's wild.
We are missing it. We can't. There's no answer. There is no answer for fixing the world. In fact, it's God that struck the world with chaos and vanity. It says it right in the book of Romans. The whole creation was subjected to emptiness or vanity or a temporary thing called time. And you can't fix it. It's supposed to be that way, because in the emptiness, we will wake up and say, this is emptiness. There's got to be another answer. Well, the next answer, the new answer isn't the next prime minister of England or the president of the United States or some king of the world. No, the answer is Jesus. That's it. The answer is Jesus. It's so simple, and yet everybody complicates it, and they look for the answer to trying to fix the world in the wrong place, and it can't be fixed. It'll only come to a place where this planet is fixed when Jesus returns. There'll be no fixing it until that happens. No sorting it out until that happens.
And
until that happens, we have to occupy. We have to hold our ground.
Yes. Now, I was just about to ask you, Ken, what could be done with the issues out there in the East, that never-ending religious war that's going on with this these different factions, these different religious factions out there?
Nothing can be done about it.
I don't think so either.
The Palestinian issue and the Jewish issue, people, well, the peace process. There's no peace process. There's been war since the time of before King David of Israel. That's 3,000 years ago.
Absolutely.
If we hadn't had an answer by now, do you think we're going to have?
Probably not.
Find an answer? There's no answer to hatred. People's hearts have to be converted. Until that happens, forget it. There's no answer until people have a personal conversion. Personal conversion. That doesn't mean going to a church. It means you find God. You have to find God. And the only way to find God is through his son. That's why he sent him. And that's the answer. And yet people don't want to receive it because it's too simple or it's too offensive or Oprah Winfrey. There's many ways to God. No, there isn't. There's only one way to God. One way. It's a narrow way with one door. That's it. And no, there's got to be many ways. No. There's just one way. Nobody else died for your sins but Jesus. Mohammed didn't die for your sins. Buddha didn't die for your sins. Confucius didn't die for your sins. George Bush didn't die for your sins. Donald Trump didn't die for your sins. Nobody did that but the Lord. And it's when those sins are dealt with by his death and his very blood that we can receive of his glorious spirit that gives us new energy and life. And that's what the world needs. We don't need new political constructs. We don't need a new world order. We don't need an old world order. We just need the Son of God, period. There's no other answer. That's it. That's the bottom line. And it's so simple. I came to that realization and I surrendered 50 years ago when I was 25. Even though I believed in Jesus most of my life, I didn't surrender to Jesus until I was 25. Now I'm 73, almost 50 years ago. Well, I was 60. I was about 24. 25.
And in great health, Ken. Better than some guys out there.
I have my issues. I mean, the body, is dying, and
oh yeah.
But this is the way it is for everybody. I'm no different than anybody else.
Understood, Ken. And of course, I did want to slightly take a turn here in the conversation, and I'm just very curious about your opinion on extraterrestrial life. It seems like that seems to be a very popular topic in today's media, in the mainstream media. It seems lots of interest in UFOs, and of course, everything ties.
Mike, I'll tell you something. This, Mike. I have more than an opinion on this topic because, I'm a film producer.
Sure.
And about, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I was doing the George Norrie radio show. And some guy heard me on. I was doing about the pyramids. Some guy called me from, where was he from? He's from Louisiana or Mississippi. One of I think it was Louisiana. Yes, he was New Orleans. And he says, Ken, I'm seeing stuff. I have this 2 million candle watt light, and I can see things in the infrared spectrum, and I'm trying to film it. I thought he was nuts, and I didn't listen to him for 6 months. He kept bugging me. Finally, I said, okay, send me what you got. And it was so bad. The images were really, he didn't know how to shoot the camera, but I could see something. I went, you know what? This guy's seeing something. I'm going to get on the airplane, fly down to New Orleans. And I did. I went down to see this guy. And he was filming these amazing things called orbs. There are millions of them. And we were out over the Mississippi River. And I said, I'm going to get my cameraman, come back, and we're going to do a movie on this. I want to do a movie.
Oh, wow.
And so I rented a boat, a fishing boat. We went out on the Mississippi River, we went down to the Avondale shipping yards, and lo and behold, we saw all this UFOs and all kinds of stuff flying around over the Avondale shipyard. And so I got film of it. And then this guy calls me from Arizona. He goes, I'm down here and filming Arizona Phoenix Lights, he called them. He said, I got amazing stuff. So I flew to Phoenix, and I interviewed him. We went out on the South Mountain, filmed all kinds of stuff. And then this gal calls me from Pittsburgh, and she says, you got to come out here and see what I'm shooting in my backyard. And so I've got a movie I shot on this. Like, I have more than an opinion on this, Mike.
Yeah.
I have a film called Invasion of the Dark Stars. Invasion of the Dark Stars. It's a film I produced. And I have all my stuff. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to sound commercial. And
That's okay.
I don't want to sound commercial, but I don't know what else to do except to say, if you want to see what I've done on this topic, you can go to my website. And there, I have 15 or 20 films that I've produced because I'm a film producer. And one of them is called Invasion of the Dark Stars. So if you want to know my opinion, I've got my opinion in a movie with facts that I've filmed.
I've seen the trailer.
In the red spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah. It's called Invasion of the Dark Stars, and my website is kenklineproductions.net. You can go there, kenklineproductions.net. To forget, it's plural, productions, kenklineproductions.net. You can go look at it. It costs $2 or $3. I don't know what I charge you.
No doubt. Yeah, no problem, Ken. And by the way, have you ever recalled seeing anything else in the sky prior to this? I'm talking years ago.
When I did my pyramid film, Dr. Hutchins had seen stuff, but I don't recall in my own experience prior to making the film Invasion of the Dark Stars, I myself had seen anything personally. I have had friends that are reputable people that have. Sure. One of my dear friends that lives in Eugene, Oregon, came upon one in Eugene, Oregon, and we did an interview with him that's in one of my pyramid films. But I personally had not. But when I did my film, I did see one. In fact, we caught it in the film on South Mountain, where I personally saw it. I didn't personally see anything in New Orleans apart from being on the boat, but on the boat we did see stuff. So, in fact, the guy that invited me down to New Orleans was so into it, he couldn't stop drinking whiskey. He had to get drunk, couldn't handle it. And I said, "You better stop looking into this stuff. They'll kill you." And they killed him. They killed him.
They killed him.
He's dead. Yeah. Well, what I mean is that they drove him crazy, and he drank himself to death.
Oh my.
Steve, and he was a nice fellow. I liked him. He's in my film. He's in that very film. You can see him, but he's now dead. When we were on the boat, one landed. It was in his house. One of the orbs landed on the back of his neck. I got that on camera. And then the guy that was accompanying us on the boat, they were actually shot different lights on his face. This is all in my film.
Wow.
So you ask me what I think about it. They're real. I don't mess with them because they actually can track your voice sound and mimic your own inner sound. People think, their inner sound, because everybody has an inner voice.
Inner voice, right.
Listen to. Yeah, but that's not God. That's just your spirit. That's your spirit. Well, these beings can actually track your sound and create a sound vibe that's similar to your own spiritual voice. And when I say spiritual voice, it's not the spiritual voice, not the voice of God. God's voice is different than your own spirit. But they can mimic it, and they do it through these orbs. These orbs capture sound impressions. Like Rich Little. He can mimic other people's sounds. You've heard him do that. He's a tremendous ability to do that. Well, these things can do that. They pick up your sound. That's why the Bible says don't let any evil communication come out of your mouth. It's not a moralistic thing. It's a spiritual reality because Satan, who is the orchestrator of all these orbs, can capture your voice prints, and then he can create designer sounds that sound just like your own inner voice and trick you. And so I don't mess with these things because it's too dangerous.
That's what I was wondering, Ken, if you felt these things were possibly demonic, these entities.
Absolutely demonic, because you're going to have me come back and do another show because I got to go pretty quick. I got a few more minutes and I can be with you, but I got to go. And
we're winding down here soon. No problem. I said we definitely are winding down soon here.
Okay. I got to go by it's 8:23 here. I'll give you a few more minutes and I got to run.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Where was I?
We were talking about these demonic entities.
Okay, so when George Lucas created Star Wars movie, I don't know, at the time he wasn't a Christian guy. He wasn't a believer in Jesus. He just tuned into something in the spiritual realm where there was a war, Star Wars. And the Star Wars are really something that really happened. There was a war in our galaxy, and it's recorded in the book of Revelation. There was war in the heavens, not heaven, the heavens. So that means in the universal construction, specifically in our galaxies, there's billions of galaxies out there, which makes it the mind-boggling consideration. But when that war took place, and I'll come back and talk more about this next time. But
sure.
The messengers in our galaxy, there's 3 groups of them, and it's recorded in the Bible. So I mean, people don't see it, but it's there. I can prove it from the Bible. One of those groups was more involved in creativity than other groups. Some were recorders, some were judges, some were creators. And the creators got into a conflict, which was the Star Wars that Lucas tuned into. And those creator messengers, or the Bible calls them angels, had to be dealt with because that war that they got involved with was not sanctioned by the 7 spirits of God. There's 7 like Supreme Court spirits, which are like the head honchos over 1 trillion circuits of angels, 1 trillion. And the Bible even records the exact number in the book of Revelation. So I'm not making this stuff up. This is all scriptural stuff, but it's not taught. It's not taught in Christian circles. So when that took place, those 7 archoni, or head honchos, or let's say archangels, decided that those warring angels would have to suffer the consequences of being involved in the war that was not sanctioned. Because there's many wars going on in the universal constructions throughout the universe. We're not the only deal going on planet Earth. That's a joke. There's many life forms out there, and there's many entities out there, and there's wars going on. And so, but this war was not sanctioned by the 7 spirits of God, or the 7 archoni, or the 7 archangels. So they had to be disciplined. And the discipline is something I'm not going to talk about on this show, except to say that they were cast out of their domain. That's it. I'm not going to go any farther than that.
Understood.
Down the road. But so these things that we're seeing, these UFOs and these things, and by the way, we filmed one on the ground. It's unbelievable.
Really?
When I was in Pitt, we filmed one on the ground. I mean, you can't miss it.
I need to see this.
Circle around it. It's an incredible piece of work that we got. And like I said, you can look at it at my website.
I need to go there.
I don't care about making money. I mean, it's there.
Right.
They were cast out in different varieties and sizes, and the way they manifest. They're not all the same. So yes, they're demonic, and to separate between the demonic and the spiritual is dangerous, man. And that's what I do. That's my life. I am a minesweeper type of guy.
My goodness.
And and so you can see that, and it's totally demonic. And now I gotta go. I really gotta run.
Yes, and Ken, I do want to thank you very much for being a part of the program. Of course, that's kenkline.net, correct?
It's if the website is Ken Klien Productions.
Ken Klien Productions.
.net. But if you Google Ken Klien, you probably can find me that way too. It's Klein. And Amazon, of course. My website doesn't have. I don't think my website has my book. It may. I don't know. I don't keep up with my website. But
no
Amazon.com, if you want to get the Deep State Prophecy and the Last Trump, and I'll come back, Mike, if you want me.
Of course.
When my film comes out.
No problem. Thank you so much, Ken. Take care.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. Ken Klien. You can find his book at Amazon. Just look up Ken Klien. You don't even have to search anything now. Amazon has made it completely easy. Definitely just search his name and you'll find his book, KenKleinProductions.net. Yes, thank you for that chat room. And of course, we definitely have more to come here tonight. I definitely want to thank Mr. Ken Klien. Hopefully we can do this again in the near future. It seems like he was in for it, really. Lots of topics we didn't really get to cover. And he seemed a little fired up. You spelled it wrong. Now don't worry. Everyone understands. And of course, speaking of wild souls out there, nature calls. And I'll be going on a break. And joining me on the second half, we do have some 305 news from our official correspondent. Vanessa makes her return here. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. And welcome back, boys and girls. Here we are again. Round 2. Welcome back to the program. Did I take too long? I hope not. I do thank the live audience. Oh, yes. The live audience for their patience. For those listening to this on a replay, you folks won't even have to worry about that. You guys are so damn spoiled. You don't even know. So here we are, under pale moonlight once again. I'm pleased to announce the return of the one and only, the official 305 correspondent. Let's bring her in. Oh, for some odd reason, we are not ready to go yet. It seems like our call seemed to have dropped, ladies and gentlemen, so the official correspondent is not ready yet. Let's see if we can bring them in here. Not sure what happened. Everything was going well. And then the call dropped. Gotta love technology, boys and girls, and here we are. Incoming call. Let's see if we do have the official correspondent, and I believe we do. Vanessa, how's it going?
Hello. I don't know what happened.
It seemed like the internet hated us for a moment there.
For a moment, but now it likes us again.
I know, I can't believe it. I'm so glad you are back. I was just saying the one and only 305 correspondent, the official 305 correspondent of the program here.
That's right. Hi.
Amazing, right?
Amazing.
It really is. I'm so glad you are here. Such a fun time it is. And
yes, always.
It really is. And I got to be honest with you, I had a great time during the first guest. I'm not quite sure if you heard that, though.
I did. I heard some of it.
What'd you think? He got a little annoyed of me, right?
Yeah, a little testy.
Do you think that's fair to say that he got a little bit annoyed of me?
Yes, definitely.
He did not like that, huh?
He seemed a little bit bothered and a little bit angry. I like when he said his website name and he was like Productions.
Yeah, Productions.
He had attitude.
Yeah, he kind of threw a little bit of that attitude, right? A little bit of shade at me.
A little bit of shade.
That's all right. I wasn't even worried about that. I liked him, though.
Yeah.
The thing is, I do have that sort of effect on people where it's like they really like me or they just really don't like me.
I mean, same with me, actually, to be honest.
Oh, that's what happens. And by the way, Vanessa, I do thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. You spending your time, and I did want to ask how you're doing. The last time I had spoken to you here on the program, you were a bit under the weather.
I was really sick, and I was sick for like 3 weeks.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but I'm better now. I'm back to normal.
Did you have the Zika virus?
No, the mosquito virus. No, I had the flu. Apparently.
You know, honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't want to tell you this. But when I had...
Is it scary?
Kinda. The thing is, I had held back when I first initially talked to you. I was like, I don't want to scare her, but since you were sick for a long ass time, I kept thinking, oh my God, she has the Zika virus.
Oh my God, thank God you didn't tell me.
I didn't say that because I knew I was going to scare you.
Man, and look at yourself calling yourself out right now.
I know.
I actually, I hate mosquitoes, and I'm like, you know how I am. But
I hate bugs too. I mean, I try to, when I talk to Mike Hideous here, he's a big animal lover. He loves insects and the whole 9 yard type thing. And I tell him at times I saw a spider or a cricket or something, and I killed it right away. And I knew it ruffled his feathers ever so slightly.
Well, I'm vegan, but bugs I can't get down with. So I can't. I just can't. I try to be, I'm like, you do your thing and I do my thing, but nah, I can't.
You're vegan.
Yes, but you know how vegans supposedly like all creatures. But no, I don't like bugs. I don't like bugs or humans.
How can anyone love bugs though? I just find them completely annoying. Anytime I see a bug or even hear a bug, I just want to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you.
You feel that, right? Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing a lot better. Lots of people are getting sick, and also that reminds me of those affected by the floods out there.
Oh, the floods?
Yeah, all over the place.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Yeah, I feel terrible for all those who lost loved ones and, of course, had their property damaged. Mother Nature is a real C word.
Oh, okay. The ones in the middle, right? In the Midwest.
Sure, and I almost said the C word, by the way.
You gotta be careful.
I almost let it fly. I almost said it, to be honest.
That word is fun to say, I gotta say.
I had to refrain myself from using such vulgar language here.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Now, Vanessa, I'm glad you're here. I do love these segments. We do have plenty of time to finally discuss different things here. And
yay.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally get that chance to. And we got some news from the 305.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yes. And it's not a program without some news from the 305.
That's right. Oh, the whole state, not just 305. The whole state is
They lost their minds.
Yes.
I don't know how you do it.
I mean, I stay inside a lot.
That's probably the safest thing to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It seems like everything in the world can kill you out there in Florida. The drug addicts, the animals, I mean, everything. The kids.
Yep. The alligators, the people, the zombies eating your face off.
Yeah, you got some real issues out there.
Yes.
Good Lord. And of course, we do have some celebrity death news.
Okay.
We got that to cover, and that's always fun, right?
I mean, well, I wouldn't say fun, but
it's fun for me since show business failed me. So, I'm angry, I'm bitter.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I'm not really that angry or bitter. I just sort of latch on to that sort of angle. It sounds a little bit better when I do that.
I mean, it's your thing.
But it is kind of true. It is kind of true.
To be angry.
I am kind of angry at times.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm still a little bit bitter,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happened. I don't need to rehash those things here.
Yeah, we don't want it. It's not dark times.
Yeah, we don't want another lawsuit here.
No.
That might happen again. Get threatened all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you got to remember, it's important to state it matters who's making those threats. That's the important part, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I mean.
Right.
Anybody could threaten.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about who makes those threats. You got to remember that,
That's
folks.
Right. That's right.
But yeah, these are some dark times.
Dark times.
And I'm glad everything's working, though. I'm glad you're able to hear me and I'm able to hear you. There's no more hiccups going on.
I mean, knock on wood, but you didn't have any malfunctions.
We had, I fixed a lot of things behind the scenes for those that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Had to do all sorts of nonsense, but I'm glad I got through it. Now we are able to roll the right way. And I'm glad all of you out there are finally listening to this in the live chat. And that's where I would want most people to be. For those that listen to this on the podcast rendition of the program, I wish you could come in here live. That's where the fun is. That's where the magic happens.
That's right.
Yeah, would you agree with that?
I mean,
it's better this way.
There's nothing like being here live.
I know being here live is a great experience.
Yeah, you feel a little left out when you listen to the podcast, but you are on iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, you could still hear my soul coming through the speakers regardless, but I mean, not like it is live.
That's right. Now is the time to plug your iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm putting up a photo in the chat room, by the way, of a Florida postcard. It says, "Greetings from Florida.
We wish you were here."
Yeah, and there's a girl in a bikini.
Really? I can't see. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, people will
Okay.
like that.
That is very nice. Sexy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. For those men out there that want a little bit of a visual aspect, there you go. Oh, line the mood.
Yeah. I mean, that does look like it's from a different, like maybe the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. That's from an old time. Look at that. Look at that girl's hair.
That's, yeah, she got that 50s hair.
You gotta admit, she's a pretty good-looking girl.
She is. I mean,
Not
she
bad.
is.
Not bad. Yeah, see,
mean,
look at the chat room. They like that.
She's probably a little dead now, but she looks good.
Well, all we have are our photos of the past.
Yes, that's right.
The memories.
That's right.
Gotta hold on to the memories. And of course, it's now that time to get started here, Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Let's get the ball rolling here with the 305 news. But of course, before we do, there is another topic at hand that I did want to mention quickly before we roll through all this. And that's with Meghan McCain.
Okay. Your favorite?
Yes, we'll talk about her, but we're going to save that story for later. I just wanted everyone to realize that we will be talking about one Meghan McCain.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to say here. On our later story tonight, hang tight. And one story that caught my attention out there, Vanessa, where you're at, it made me realize that our government is quietly, very quietly restricting and breaching our freedom of rights. And what I'm referring to is the New Zealand shooting. After that shooting took place, they really went hard to clamp down even further on gun restrictions and, of course, the ability to view the specific video of the New Zealand shooting over at that synagogue that happened earlier this year. It's now starting where you're at, Vanessa, by the way. Florida? Yeah, Florida restricts access to mass killing videos.
Oh.
Yes, this bit of news comes from the Sun Sentinel.
Oh, yeah, that's legit.
That's pretty legit, right? I don't know. Yeah. So you got to tell me, is that a legit source?
Yes, it is.
It says Florida is blocking the public from seeing videos or photographs kept by government agencies that show a mass killing, a measure inspired in part by the Parkland school shooting and the massacre at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. Of course, all these things come back and influenced directly from New Zealand. They're blaming other things, but I'm sure they were influenced heavily over New Zealand and what went on there. Don't you think that's kind of crazy that they would have this sort of restriction there, Vanessa?
I mean,
given the fact that you know how Florida is so crazy.
I mean, Florida's very crazy. And Florida, I mean, people in Florida get away with things. They really do. I mean, you know, they could kill their children and put them in dumpsters and they're okay. You know, so like that is kind of, God, what a hypocrite.
It is. And of course, this comes from Governor Ron DeSantis. Mm-hmm. Do you know that guy?
I mean,
well, not personally,
but yeah, I do know.
You've seen his face.
Yes, I have.
Good Lord. Is that a good looking guy?
He's not ugly.
Not that bad.
I don't think he's ugly, but I mean, he looks like a smug.
The ladies don't like him, in other words.
I mean, ladies probably like him. I mean, he got the light eyes, but like I don't really. He's not my type.
You don't really falling for that?
Not really.
For sure. And of course, he's talking about he signed.
Really...
background noise.
I feel like oh my God. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Of course.
I feel like I'm misbehaving.
I know some people do that. They leave the stream on.
I know, and then you hear yourself twice.
I know. I'm hearing the show with the guest.
Yeah.
It's a fun time.
And then you say it, and then they don't understand.
I know. They just go along with it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like the last guest. I was trying to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, the last guest, Mr. Ken Klien, I do like him a lot, but I was trying to poke him a little bit there. Mm-hmm. I think he realized that.
You were trying to piss him off? Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly piss him off, but, you know, some people, they give a better interview when they're a little bit triggered.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that's what I was trying to do.
I mean, you were asking him things that you knew he was not gonna.
Yeah, well, of
He was not gonna
course.
be cool with.
Oh, of
He was not gonna be
course.
cool with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to talk about the? Well, I mean, you. Of course, you're going to talk sort of about the same thing when you're interviewed. You're going to go over the same material, but it's much more interesting when there's someone like myself who's going to try to, poke a little fun here and there at times. Ask a few questions that are not going to be asked,
Exactly. Who wants to see an interview where people already know what they're going to be asked?
And people do a lot better when they're a little heated.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I learned.
They show their true self.
Yeah, he was getting a little aggressive with me, huh?
He was production.
Did you see?
When he
Did you
said
see
that, I was like, "Whoa!"
Did you see that? He was trying to get all into it, right?
He really was.
Amazing. I appreciated that, though. I did appreciate that.
He was nice, though.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell him, don't worry. You could say anything. Perhaps something vulgar or mean to me. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I kind of want you to go off on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who really wants to listen to a show that's just like every other show? Sometimes you need some conflict here.
Mm-hmm.
Got to ruffle a few feathers. You got to ruffle the cage. Got to rattle a few cages here, as they say. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, Vanessa, it's interesting that we got into this, even though I was not going to bring this up whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that you could say these positive things about people,
mm-hmm.
but those people are not going to care because they're so used to having their asses kissed.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, whenever I get like a mean comment, the mean comment sticks with me way more than... Yeah, I'll get like 20 nice comments.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I'll get one mean one, and that mean one will stick with me.
It'll stick with you.
Yes, it's true. I mean, it's hard.
Well, that's why. And see, here's the thing, Vanessa. The great thing about this program, and I was not even going to say this, the great thing about this program is that I do trash a lot of people out there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, that sort of trashing that I do give one, everyone deserves a tongue lashing. No one is above that. Got to keep that in mind. No one is above a good old-fashioned tongue lashing, especially from me. So if I am trashing you, it doesn't mean that I hate you or anything like that. It generally means that I do kind of like you, but I also want to sort of make fun of you in a way.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? You got to bring a little bit of humor into it, or else these things are a little bit boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you're gonna have a show like everyone else. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who gives a shit,
Do you make people mad? Do people like
all the time? All the time. Well, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Lots of times, a lot of people don't understand this program. I mean, it's an entertainment type program, but of course, informative. But of course, you got to have that edge there.
You give like a lot. Like you give a lot of you give information. You teach people, but you're also like not kissing anyone's.
No, what's the point? Everyone's everyone's fake and phony anyways. Like I said, you could compliment someone, but they don't care. They only care about the negative response because they're so used to everyone kissing their ass.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're at, boys and girls. That's where we're at. So, I mean, I do like the fact that anytime I talk about individuals out there, it's going to come back to them. Especially if I'm punching down. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big insult to those people I've talked about, by the way. Because I consider that punching down. I do punch up. I go after people that are much bigger than I am. And even if they respond to me, it's still going to make me look good. It's going to make them look bad. It's going to make them look like they're bullying me.
Do you do it to get like a response out of them?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of the game here. Mm-hmm. You got to get a response. You got to get a pop somehow.
Someone's calling you a bad boy.
Well, I've been often referred to that as well here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no one wants to hear the same shit every day.
Yeah.
People get bored. But yes, I'm sorry to go on that rant there, Vanessa. I apologize.
No, it's true.
It's just I like the fact that I'm able to, punch down and go after other shows out there, and without my acknowledgement, my words go back to those individuals, and they get all kinds of heat with me. They get all mad, and this happened to all sorts of people, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. They all know. The word goes back to them. It's amazing, really. I like it, though. If I'm able to kill two birds with one stone, I'm going to be proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you get my name right. That's all I care about.
Yeah, you got to spell it right.
I want to get talked about. I like the attention.
Yeah, tag. You want them to tag you.
Even if it's bad. Just like, out there on Twitter. I got a few people really pissed off at me. I should say, I wasn't quite sure who this person was, but I had drank a little bit, and I was going off on Twitter there, and I sort of made fun of someone that I probably shouldn't have.
I think I read that.
You read that, right?
I may have read that, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I had to commit to the act.
Yes.
It was a complete accident, by the way. I had no idea who that was.
Was it the butt one?
No, it was some young girl.
But it was about a butt. Right?
Something like that, yeah.
Am I right?
Something along those lines. But everybody got really angry at me. They're calling me terrible, that I'm a monster, all sorts of things. It was pretty fun. But I considered that a bit of trolling.
Yes.
Big time trolling. But yes, going back to what we were talking about before we went on that wild tangent there, we were talking about Florida.
Yes.
Yes, with your little Governor Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Good Lord. But yes, this bill was revised to specify that such photographs and video and audio recordings provided a view of the deceased in the final moments of life. So now, Vanessa, you're going to get in trouble if you have any...
If I look it up.
Yeah.
I mean...
How's that make you feel?
I feel like my rights have been stripped.
You feel like your rights have been stripped?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's true. It is, right? Like, they're censoring me, right?
They're basically this is more censorship. I would say it's time to stop holding the general public's hand in terms of how these things take place in order to prevent the skeptics out there. It's always one thing to have photographic evidence. In many ways, we can't even have an open source government, which is something that is sort of a popular concept nowadays here online.
I think every day we get closer to the Demolition Man world.
The Demolition Man world?
Yes, every single day
Probably
we
right.
are closer and closer to that.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Definitely. I mean, except for Taco Bell's. Like Taco Bell's taking over.
I'm with you on
the
that.
franchise world wars.
Yes, Taco Bell.
Yes.
Haven't been there in a while.
That's right.
Oh, yes. So, as I was saying, this open source government, that's sort of like this idea that's been popular, Vanessa, but we both know that the reality is that it can't really happen. Open source for the government, the open source idea would be great in theory. However, we both know that the reality that we deal with today, people in power, they lie. And they've done it before, and they'll continue to do it today, sadly, Vanessa.
Of course. I mean, bottom line, everybody lies. So, of course, what would make them any different?
I'm referring to specifically a very popular guest, Vanessa, who has been on the program by the name of Robert David Steele. He was on the Alex Jones show when he made this claim of pedophiles being on Mars. There's some sort of child trafficking ring there.
Yeah, I remember.
You recall that, right?
Yes, I do.
With our boy, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, our boy, which, I mean, he's censored all over.
Are you listening to him still?
And come on, or are you calling me out? No, I'm not.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I mean, I used to listen to him for fun, like, for entertainment purposes, but not anymore. I mean,
What happened?
it
What
worked,
happened?
right? It worked.
You turned your back on Alex Jones.
I mean, I always knew he was kind of fake, and he was like, and I really would watch him for entertainment.
Do you
and
think
I just feel like
Do you think he's a Zionist?
I think he's full of shit.
Amazing.
Yes, I mean, he's just it's just too much.
It's just too
He's
much.
too much.
It's too
Yes.
much. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Someone said I was red pilled.
Oh yeah. We love him or her. Gender bias.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we don't know.
Neutral.
Gender neutral. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
We're not biased.
2019.
Yeah, well, 2019, almost 2020 here. Can you believe
That's
that, by
right.
the way?
Time
Holy
goes
crap.
by so fast. I don't remember time going by so fast when I was younger.
I don't either. That's scary.
It's crazy.
It's pretty
there
scary, right?
Is there something to that? Is that some flat Earth thing? I don't know.
I don't think it's a flat earth thing. I think that's just the reality of what we face.
I think it's just that we're older, right? And time
Yeah.
goes it has to be that, right?
We're older, we're more observant of what's going on. And now I do have another photograph in the chat room, Vanessa, there. It says, "Greetings from Florida."
Oh, another honey.
It's a drawing, and there's a whale in the background being abducted by a UFO.
Oh, I like that.
That's kinda cool, right?
Wait a minute. I've noticed that you put a lot of blondes. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, that was the only things we had here. I was looking at older photographs.
I know, I was just kidding.
But yeah, well, you noticed that on Fox News, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because the older Caucasian males, they love their blondes.
They do.
That's my theory of why Fox News has so
Lot of
many
blondes.
blonde anchors. It's because their demographic are, over the age of a certain demographic there.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I mean, but none of them are real blondes, so.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure I suppose they're all bleach blonde, right?
I thought there was a few naturals in there.
Really?
I thought so. I guess not.
I don't think so.
My goodness. Well, now moving
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, that's right. Now moving on to a more positive story here, Vanessa.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how positive this story is, but it definitely makes me wonder about your opinion on this one. And they already this already has me excited, by the way. Sex on the job. How risky, or sex in public in general. That's also pretty dangerous.
Oh, this is getting kind of heavy for I don't know, for it's a
consumption?
Saturday night at 9 p.m. over there, right?
That's right. 9:19 to be exact.
That's right. Well, sex on the job.
Well, hold on, Vanessa. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yes, let me get into the story. All sorts of things can go wrong, by the way.
I know what you're referring to.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, during public sex, as you know, Vanessa. All sorts of things can go wrong. All sorts of scenarios can take place. And that's exactly what happened to our friends in our next story, Vanessa.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Florida school district bus drivers caught engaging in sexual acts while on the job. Oh, yes, there is video, Vanessa.
I know.
I haven't seen the video. I've only seen those clips, but I haven't.
You have to see the video.
I haven't checked the interwebs. I'm sure it's out there on Pornhub.
Yes. Oh God.
Courtesy of Fox 4, by the way, developing story of 2 Lee County district employees involved in what appeared to be sexual acts. Oh yeah, sexual acts while on the job on a school bus, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, on the school bus, hot and heavy in broad daylight.
There's more to this story.
Yeah, Fox 4 actually has that footage. Thanks to some sort of close source. And of course, that video first shows two women sitting on a bus in broad daylight kissing. And then, of course, moments later, engaging in what appears to be a sex act, boys and girls. Wow. Amazing.
Amazing.
It really is. It really is. And the school district has basically disciplined the bus drivers, but they didn't exactly say if they would be fired or not.
They are probably not saying it because, number one, because it's gay.
They got it on.
They're gay. And also, I think they're black, right?
I think they were black, and they were both two lesbian women, and they both performed fellatio on one another.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I'm pretty sure they don't want to say anything. I mean, they don't want to fire them because there's just so much there.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Did they scissor on the bus, Vanessa?
It looked like it. I think it was a little bit of going down.
Things got a little freaky there, right? A little tongue action.
Yeah.
My
I thought it
goodness.
was a guy until I read the whole thing. I thought it was a guy and a woman until I read the whole thing. Yeah.
True. I thought it was a guy at first. I thought a guy was, going to town on another bus driver, a female bus driver. But then it turned out to be almost like a scene of Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, it wasn't sexy. Look, because I know there's people that are into that lesbian thing, but it was off-putting.
There's some people really into that.
Yeah, in your chat, it seems like there's some people. Oh my God, there's some people in your chat.
By the way, Vanessa,
kind of crazy.
By the way, Vanessa, did I ever tell you about this feminist that I had met like almost 10 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
She came back into my mind because of how insane she was.
Okay.
And because of the whole Me Too movement, which started all kinds of, I guess, modern day feminist. And it reminded me of this one girl that I knew. She was
a feminist 10 years ago?
Yeah, like 10 years ago. But she was like,
legit
she was ahead of the crowd though.
That's right. Not a follower, she's a leader.
But I think she still even holds these sort of views because I looked her up on Facebook and she was going off still on all sorts of feminist views. And I thought, oh my God, this woman is insane. But yeah, let me backtrack again. I knew this one girl through school, and then she moved away, and she was like this lesbian feminist, and apparently she was like raped at one time, and now she has this notion that wherever she goes out in public, even to this day, she thinks she's gonna get raped.
Okay.
I mean, have you ever heard of anyone that extreme?
No.
It's a little extreme, right?
No, but I can't. It is very, but I don't know. I mean, I've never been in that position, so I can imagine that that's pretty like traumatizing. That's
kind of hard.
So,
pretty heavy stuff there.
It's pretty heavy. So she hated men completely.
In a way.
Or was she raped by a woman?
Well, no, not a woman, a guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a guy. Okay. You gotta be careful now.
I just try to be her friend.
Women can rape too.
Even back then, Vanessa, like I was just trying to be her friend, trying to be cool, and like even like little things bothered her.
Okay.
And I thought, oh my God, I can't have this woman around me.
Yeah.
She was nuts. I'm not saying every girl is like that, like every feminist is like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this one in particularly. She was off the rails in many ways.
Yeah. But I mean, at least she had reason to be. Like, she had a bad experience, maybe?
Sure, but now she just hates, like, every man.
Yeah, I mean, well, most feminists hate men. So, I mean, I feel like... But, I mean, if she had a bad experience, maybe that's a reason. I mean, I can imagine what that must be like,
Yeah, that's terrible.
Fun. That is terrible.
Of course not.
Yeah.
My goodness. But yeah, I feel bad about that. I always talked about how the whole Me Too movement started off as something positive, but then turned ugly really fast.
It's it can't be taken seriously.
That's what I mean.
Like,
yeah, like it can't be taken seriously now.
No, I can't. Like I know I don't. Like I can't. They killed it pretty much is what I'm trying to say.
They ruined it, right?
Yeah, they did.
I hear you. But yes, going back to these women here, I'm not exactly sure how you feel about this one. I'm sure it will end with some sort of controversy since this involves two women. I guess when nature calls, you got to answer that call, right? Answer the call of the wild as they went for it, right?
Like if they were kissing, okay, but they're doing sexual things.
Yeah, like how do you feel about that, by the way, Vanessa? Having sex in public, I would say that's
the thing is, it was a
risque.
school bus. It's
a school bus, right?
So kids sit there. You know what
That's
I mean?
pretty dark.
It's a little. It's not like they're having sex like in the bathroom on their lunch break.
Sure.
No, they're having sex on the bus where kids sit.
I don't want them to get fired, but at the end of the day, at the same time, it's also really strange that they chose to do that on the bus.
Yeah, I feel like they should be fired. And
I can
if
understand.
It was a guy and a girl, I would say the same thing. They should be fired.
I can understand a few other places, but a bus where, like you said, where children are sitting, that's pretty goddamn heavy.
Yeah, and buses are gross. Like, ew, they're pretty brave to be like sitting there. Like,
kids are disgusting.
Very disgusting.
And so, like, why would you want to be, why would you want to scissor another woman on a bus, a school bus?
Yeah, how do you like, get in, like, how do you feel things when you're sitting in a school bus? Like, just knowing, I don't know.
I can't get off that way.
Weird. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
It's a little bit too much restriction.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat room wanted me to ask, that's a gang of four. They wanted me to ask if they're asking you, if you've ever been attracted to another woman.
Oh my. No. Maybe Britney Spears.
You've been a little bit of a lesbian for that?
Not a lesbian for that, but like,
you want to make out with her?
Like,
Katy Perry?
Always like one girl that maybe you're like, wow, she's really pretty. Like, maybe I would be a lesbian for her.
You kiss her a little bit?
No, like, come on. Like, I'm talking like a threesome, like something like that.
Okay.
Britney Spears, only Britney Spears.
Only
That's
Britney?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you would totally les out for her?
Back in the day. Not
sure,
now.
like 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, yes.
Okay. Fair enough. I noticed that a lot of girls like that one chick. I don't know her name, but she comes out in that new Orange is the New Black, that show.
I have no idea.
The one who
watch that show. I saw season 1.
It's that one show. It's that one girl who looks kind of like Justin Bieber.
Oh, her. No.
You know which girl I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no. She was kind of like a little butchy, maybe, right? Like
something like that. But a lot of girls are into her.
Is that the one from the shark movie?
I'm not quite sure what movie she's been in, but she's been coming out in a lot of action films, I've noticed.
Okay.
God, I'm forgetting that woman's name. Let me look it up right now. Because it's driving me crazy. But yeah.
Oh, Brittany, a little Brittany pun.
Right. I did that without even knowing.
That's right. You're that good.
Wait, no, she wasn't in this show.
No?
Nah, she wasn't in this show. God, what's the name of this woman? I'm forgetting this woman's name, and it was just in my head a moment ago, too, and I lost it.
What does she look like? That doesn't help.
She's got short hair.
Yeah. Is she butchy, though, or is she like a feminine?
Kind of butchy.
Lesbian?
Kind of a little bit butchy.
No, that's not cool. Like, I mean, I the lipstick lesbian thing, I would see why. But, like, I don't know.
I'm looking through the names, and I can't find it now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good Lord. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll move on here. We don't have to look for her here. But of course, our featured story, we're going to go outside of the 305 news. It involves the TV show, The View. And I don't normally talk about The View,
I mean, no, because you're not a 50-year-old housewife.
Well, of course.
Yes.
So, there's someone on The View that I'm going to talk about right now. And I don't normally talk about this woman at all.
Okay.
Yes, and that, of course, is Meghan McCain.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm.
Yep, got her picture up now.
Did you pick a flattering one? Let's go see.
I think it's a bit of a flattering photo of her.
I still see... Oh, okay.
Sort of.
Okay, yeah, she's smiling.
Generally, this is not a subject matter that I could really care much about.
Okay.
I can't stand anyone on The View. I can't stand anyone on that panel, and I pretty much despise every single woman on that show.
They are horrible. Like, I like the movie Ghost a lot. I like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. You know?
Sure.
And Whoopi Goldberg is in it. And
Goldberg.
I can't see the movie anymore because I don't like that lady on The View. Like, I just don't like her. Whoopi Goldberg. You know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, they ruin stuff, you know?
Oh, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 100% with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I had the unfortunate task to actually sit down and watch some of these clips, some clips and portions of The View, some of the latest about what's been going on over there with the ever so lovely ladies of The View.
Okay.
Yuck.
Did it traumatize you?
I couldn't help but really focus on the very disgruntled Meghan McCain.
Yeah, she has tantrums, I've heard, on that show.
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah.
I couldn't really understand what was going on because this was actually like the first time I really focused on the program. Because I never really done that before. Never once have I really paid attention.
They're all very annoying. Every single one of them.
They're so damn annoying.
Yeah, they should fire all of them and hire new people.
But Meghan McCain, she's been very angry about the way Donald Trump has been ridiculed for some time now. And I'm sorry, but why does this show even exist?
It's been around for a long time.
Because of the housewives.
The 50-year-old housewives, yeah, that like it.
The 30-year-old grandmothers.
Yes.
Good Lord. You know, I can't even...
It's on like very early in the morning.
I can't even really focus on the show. I seriously kept thinking, who the hell in the right mind watches this garbage?
I mean, they're always talking over each other also. I can't even, like, how could you focus?
The show stinks.
Yeah.
Stinks on nice. And of course, Whoopi Goldberg, anytime I see her out there, I think of her in that role in that movie Sister Act.
Really? When she was a nun?
When she was a nun.
Yeah.
I mean, why does anyone pretend to care what any of these girls' opinion is?
I mean, I don't know.
It's absurd.
The people in the audience, are they paid?
Paid studio members? Studio audience members?
Wonder.
I'm pretty sure they get tickets free for that show.
Yeah. Wow.
I just don't know who the hell would want to waste their time watching these women.
Yeah, imagine being that bored that you go on there.
I don't even know. It's just...
Yeah.
It's really odd just to even think about it. Why this show even exists. And now I do have a bit of a flattering photo.
Let me go look.
Yeah, she...
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit
more...
Yeah, there we go. She got the cleavage.
She's got the cleavage going there.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Okay.
Yeah, but back to Meghan McCain. She sort of has this really funky body, too. She's got like this physique of a Danny DeVito in the movie Batman.
Yeah, she has, she has a big neck. I think that's what it is, right? She has a thick neck.
She's got a big, thick neck, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not an ugly woman, by the way.
No, she's not. No, she has a pretty face.
She's a pretty good-looking girl. You know, there's a lot more in there to love. You know, a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like maybe she's a little bit like overweight.
A little bit overweight. Yeah, she's thick. I'm looking at the chat room.
Thick with the 2 cc's. So
she's an absolute unit. You know.
Yeah, she chunk.
She a little chunk. That's true. But she's not an ugly woman.
No, she's not at all. No. She's pretty foul.
Gang of Four says she's frumpy.
Okay.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
But again, not a bad looking woman though.
No. Someone said she looked like Miss Piggy.
She's pretty. Okay. She's pretty good looking. You know.
Yeah, no, she's pretty. I don't think she's ugly at all. No.
Not a very.
I just think maybe she's a little bit overweight, but she's
a little bit chunk, a little bit overweight. That's true. Yeah. She could lose a few pounds, a little bit of time on the treadmill there.
I mean, yeah, a little diet.
A little bit of time, yeah. But she's not ugly. I think she's a pretty hot looking woman there.
Yeah.
She's a very large woman. She's a BBW.
Oh, yeah, she's a BBW.
BBW, right. She a little bit more to love there, but, I'm not body shaming her. She could still, she could cause a little damage.
Oh.
Yeah, I could see how some men would like that,
Yeah, I know. I
Word, you get it.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, she's not really my type, but I'm just saying. It's just weird because she has this sort of very unhappiness vibe to her.
I've heard that she has like a lot of tantrums. Like she's.
You could see that though, right? I can't help but feel that way when I watch her on television. And to be honest, Vanessa, she is not very smart either. She's kind of dumb.
I mean, all the women on there are kind of like just talk too much.
I mean, true, but I mean, she's really dumb. Like if you take the time to actually listen to what she says, she's not a very smart woman. I gotta be honest here.
Yeah.
She's not very bright.
No, she's just privileged, She comes from privilege.
A little privilege, you think?
Yeah, a little privileged, yeah, for sure.
That's true. I mean, she's making a lot of money on The View there.
Yeah, but I mean, she wouldn't be there, like normally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, putting another picture of her up there on The View. Yeah, she'd be looking a little chunk there.
I like this. This is fun. Do you always put pictures in the chat?
Not always. This is the first time. Well, not the first time, but I've been doing it more often.
I see she wears the black because black is slimming.
Black hides that, the roundness there.
Yeah.
The fluffiness.
The fluffiness, yes.
Yeah, but not overall. She a BBW.
Yeah, she a BBW. She yeah.
It's funny because someone on Twitter asked me that, well, they didn't ask me, they told me that she needed a vacation. And I responded to him that I think he's right, but she also needs a little bit more than just a vacation, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's right.
That's right.
I think so. I mean, I don't mean to be so, rude and crude.
Uh-huh. She need to get some a little bit.
She probably does, right?
Yeah.
She's a little wound up there.
She's a little wound up there, yeah. That's so it's funny because you say it and it sounds like so mean. Like imagine telling her that.
Ooh,
you need to get laid. Imagine.
She would get furious with me.
That's right.
She would probably hit me.
Yeah.
You think she would hit me if I told her that?
Yeah,
I'm like, you're a little wound up there, girl. You need to, let loose.
Yeah. Let loose.
Let loose a little. Yeah, she'd get pissed. Right. Her dad was a brain tumor. Wow.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we could go there then, but yeah.
Okay.
My goodness. But in closing, rather, the View stinks. I don't understand why that show is as popular as it is. You'll have a much better time just watching Bob Ross painting on YouTube.
See, that I can get down with. That is...
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Like, I wonder if anybody watches The View, like, to chill out. Like, if it's, like, their comfort show.
I don't know, man.
It's been on for, like, like 20 years or something. It's crazy.
Who would want to do that though? The View stinks.
I have no idea.
I don't even know. You know, another thing that drives me crazy is that the people on Fox News, and I hate that I have to at times watch Fox News, but I have to see.
Well, you have to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm obligated, and I'm hearing about the View. I'm hearing them. It seems like they're out of material, so they're talking about the View. It's like, who cares?
I feel like the View like used to talk more about like celebrities, like back in the day.
They should go back to that.
And then it became more like they talk about like politics and like stuff like that. But I remember back in the day, if I remember, like when they first started, they used to interview famous people when their movies would come out and stuff.
Yeah, they've gone away from that. They need to go back to that.
Or they should fire everybody and start new. Maybe they need like a new
they need to get rid of the View, in my opinion. Just gut the whole thing. Because the show stinks. It's over. Just like
on ice, right?
Just cut the damn thing.
Yeah.
It needs to be cut out like a tumor.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are, Vanessa, in the final stretch of the program.
Uh-huh.
This last bit, of course, features the movie Terminator.
Oh, okay.
I know we did have a little bit of a celebrity death news to go over, but in reality, the only thing worth mentioning really is a grumpy cat.
Aw.
I know he died.
Rest in peace. I think it's a girl.
Yeah, it's a girl.
Yeah, you were just assuming the gender.
I know, right? How awful. But there's the music there.
Aww.
In tribute to Grumpy Cat.
Yeah.
Celebrity. It gone.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
At the old age of 7.
This is terrible. Oh, my heart. It's broken.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. I feel terrible about it all. I really do.
It is really sad. I do feel that animal was a little bit like exploited, but
of course.
Yeah.
Poor animal.
A little bit.
Poor kitty.
Yeah. I just wonder, now that the money train is over, what are the owners going to do now?
Yeah, that gravy train, it sure dried up.
Yeah, it dried.
The well has dried up.
Very curious.
Oh, yes. So I did want to spend time talking about the various celebrities that we lost this year alone. However, we are restricted in time, Vanessa, so we do have to pick up the pace here. So we'll be going right to a movie that you love.
I love Terminator. Yeah.
That's right. And we finally get to talk about it. And I watched the trailer. And of course, by the way, folks, we're talking about the movie Terminator Dark Fate. The new movie.
It's the 6th installment, but it's really the 3rd movie because they're forgetting about the other ones.
This one
is right after part 2.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis, they do not exist in this timeline.
Okay, good, because some of those were pretty terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is supposed to happen right after Judgment Day. So it's Terminator, it's basically the 3rd one.
Right on. And now I'm just looking for the photograph to put up in the chat room.
That's right.
Of the trailer. I'm looking for it now. Where the hell is that photograph? It ran away from me.
Oh. You had too many Meghan ones.
Oh wait, there it is. I know. I had too many Meghan photos.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a photograph of myself, by the way.
I saw it.
I do have myself there being faded in and out through the matrix, and there's a very flattering photo of Meghan McCain now, just her cleavage in the chat room.
Yes. Well, I see the other women don't have cleavage, so this works perfectly.
Yes, I'm making that photograph larger now. Here we go. Yes, I'm looking at it now.
Mm-hmm.
And Oh my God. I have to be honest with you here. I watched the trailer. I was impressed. I liked it, but of course I couldn't help but to make comparisons as soon as I watched it. The new hero in the middle, for those in the chat room, you see that right there, chat room? It looks like a cross between Milo Yiannopoulos and Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about that or anyone else, to be completely honest with you, but because of that image, it was just somehow projected into my psyche as soon as I saw it, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Mhm. I mean,
Do you see it?
it's definitely a movie. It's Terminator. It's 2019. It's a 2019 movie.
Look at that.
It's a movie that is going to have SJW stuff. It's going to have women stuff. You know, women are going to be the heroes because it's 2019.
I mean, look at that. I have these two photographs up in the chat room now.
Yes.
Look at that.
I see it. I see
There's
it.
Milo right there, and there's Ellen DeGeneres. And then, look, the final reveal. Gonna slide
Wow,
this over.
is this like a love child?
I mean, look at this. And then, boom, right there in the middle. Look at that. I mean, how can you tell me that doesn't look like a cross between Milo Yiannopoulos and Ellen DeGeneres? They have the same hair. That's a conspiracy. Look at that. That's photographic evidence, Vanessa. The proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
Holy hell.
You got the pics.
My mind is blown. I blew myself away. I blew myself.
Oh.
That was dark.
Yeah. Say that for the school bus.
Good Lord, Vanessa.
God.
But I couldn't help but laugh when I saw the trailer. I'm telling you, it's a cross between Milo Yiannopoulos and Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes.
Look at that, folks. Look at that.
Even the hair is like
Holy crap. I don't know what to say, folks. That's Hollywood for you.
The people in your chat.
They're blown away, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They can't believe it. Yeah, that's amazing. It really is. It's such a crazy thing. So, of course, I was laughing maniacally to myself. And, of course, how did you feel about that trailer, though, Vanessa? Aside from this sort of crazy shenanigans that's going on, were you excited?
I am the movie looks fun. It looks like a fun movie. I am a fan of the Terminator films. I'm happy that Sarah Connor is back. And I'm happy, Linda Hamilton. And I'm happy that, of course, the one and only Arnold is back. But his storyline we don't know because they only showed him for like 1 second.
By the way,
they know people want to see him.
By the way, Vanessa, Asuka Langley, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Asuka. They're asking if that's Michelle Rodriguez. It's not, by the way.
It's not. It's the young Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's a very younger type version of her.
Yeah.
But you were excited, by the way, correct?
I was excited. I was waiting for it. I'm excited. I am. I like movies like that. I like sci-fi action movies. I do.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing this one.
I just hope it's rated R.
I think it is, actually. I think it is. It's good to see Sarah Connor, though, right?
It is. It is very cool. And she's always been a badass. And I mean, like, the thing is about characters like hers, she was like a cool woman, like women empowerment before that was cool, like in Hollywood. So, characters like Sarah Connor that are like strong female women.
Sure.
It's not, so seeing her again being a strong female woman, it's not like annoying because she's been that way since the 80s. So it's cool,
Very nice.
It doesn't feel pushed, you know what I mean?
Yes, and of course, Vanessa, we are at the final stages of our wonderful segment here. But of course, that's right. There really hasn't been too many good movies as of late. We both saw a film together called Us.
Yes. What? I don't even know what happened.
That would be
forget.
That would be the most recent movie that I watched. And that was a very unusual movie. While entertaining, I kind of didn't understand it for one moment. I still don't understand the meaning behind it or what was going on. And
I have no idea either.
I don't hate the movie. It was pretty good. I just thought, I don't know what's going on. I saw that it got a very high score on Rotten Tomatoes. That made me think the people at Rotten Tomatoes are very, very high.
It's rigged. Honestly,
I like the movie. I like the movie, but does it really deserve like a 9.5?
Not at all. I don't think it was good at all. I'm sorry. You liked it, I think, because I picked it and you felt bad.
I didn't think it was that horrible.
It's horrible. It was horrible.
It wasn't that bad. It just made no sense at times.
Yeah, but people love it.
Some people loved it. Yeah, that's true.
I don't understand.
Some people loved it.
And it made a lot of money.
Well, you know,
it cost, I think, like 20 million to make, and I think it made like 250 million or something crazy like
Hollywood has lost their mind. Let's be honest here.
I mean, I'm just glad I didn't pay to see it. No?
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I didn't pay to see that either, but it wasn't that bad. But of course, it's a movie.
Max Cole in the chat says you gotta watch it twice.
Gotta watch it twice. Well, maybe I have to watch it again. Hollywood, though, has lost their mind. And of course, I won't spoil the film for those that have not watched the movie called Us. So I'll keep it very light here. And I'll just say the movie wasn't as great as some of the people led to believe, in just my opinion. Just saying, it didn't go... I mean, just don't go in there, you know, expecting some sort of like headline act. You know, I think the acting in the 1990 movie Tremors is actually better.
Little Kevin Bacon.
You know, the movie Tremors from 1990 is actually better than the acting in the movie Us. But then again, I should say that's kind of unfair since Kevin Bacon is in it.
That's right.
How can you not love Kevin Bacon, right?
A young Kevin Bacon.
A young Kevin Bacon in those jeans.
Yeah, with the long hair.
Good
and
Lord.
the cowboy hat.
That's a very attractive man, right?
I wouldn't say that.
With that long hair.
No.
That's a joke.
Yes.
Oh, well, some women like that.
Yeah, I mean...
Some girls are into that. That long hair.
I'm sure.
That long...
Does he have any scandals?
Hair there?
I'm surprised he doesn't have any scandals. Like, no one has come out saying Kevin Bacon raped me.
Like no Me Too sort of things?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's right.
That's weird.
I'm pretty surprised too.
Yeah.
He hasn't been Me Too'd. He's kind of gone under the radar there.
He's low-key. I think he's
low-key.
Married.
You think he's married?
I mean, he's married, but that doesn't mean anything.
Not at all. Just look at John Travolta.
That's right. Oh, John Travolta.
Good Lord.
John Travolta, though, I think from what he was like molested, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I love John Travolta. Like, I mean, I'm a big fan of Look Who's Talking.
That's a good film, by the way.
Yes.
Little classic there. And of course, I'm thinking of another classic. The actor Jon Voight.
Oh.
Another individual who took to Twitter recently and put over the president. And that caused a bit of a backlash.
I mean...
Wasn't that interesting?
You know, he knew he was going to get the attention that
Hollywood don't like him no more.
No, but I think he knew what was going to happen, you know?
It's over.
It's over. But I love Anaconda.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime I see that movie come out on DirecTV, I'm going to watch it.
That's right. It's a good one with J-Lo.
With J-Lo, that's right. And Ice Cube.
That's right. And that guy that we don't like.
Which one?
Is it Owen Wilson? I don't like him.
He's kind of a weirdo, right?
He just bothers me. I don't see why people like him.
By the way, I'm looking at some of the movies that Jon Voight was in.
I like the way you say his name.
I know, I have to say it that way. It sounds cool. Yeah. He was in Varsity Blues. He was the coach. Have you not seen that movie?
I mean, the guy from Dawson's Creek is in it, so of course I've seen it.
Well, I'm just asking. I'm not quite sure.
No, but I see that.
You
those
better
kinds
have
of
watched that
movies.
movie.
Yeah,
It's a great movie.
it's a great film. Yes, I have seen it.
He did a great job playing that coach.
I mean, he's been in some bangers.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
You gotta respect him a little bit there.
He's Angelina Jolie's dad.
That's right. I forget sometimes that he's responsible for Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, but I think like she disowned him. Like I think she.
Oh yeah, they got some heat, right?
Yeah, I feel like
that's too bad.
They don't speak.
Well, that's too bad.
He's 80. I think he looks pretty good for an 80-year-old.
He's 80 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that old when I saw him on Twitter there on his last video.
I know. That's why I thought I was like, wow, he looks pretty good for an 80-year-old, I guess. I mean, like, unless like he's crazy and maybe that's why he's saying things he's saying.
For those that don't know, John Voight, he said that he thinks Donald Trump is the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln. For those that don't know, the media went crazy about this.
People are saying he's canceled.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. I don't understand nowadays how just because your political ideology differs from someone else, it gives you some sort of self-entitlement where you want to sort of shun this sort of individual away from things. You kind of want to get them out of the picture. I think that's kind of wrong to do.
That is wrong, and I know
kind of messed up.
I know people that will not watch a movie because someone is in it.
That's so stupid.
That they don't agree with like their political thing.
But
like,
don't you think that's so dumb?
That is very dumb. I think it's very dumb because like that's
why
like,
be that way?
Separate it.
Yeah, but why be that way? Why live your life that way where anything can bother you so much where you won't even enjoy like a simple movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of miserable.
Have we gone that far, Vanessa?
I mean, seems like that's where we are. I mean, kind of sad.
It's pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, I do prefer, I'm not going to lie. I do prefer a time where we didn't know what people were, what famous people like in movies and stuff.
Sure.
What they thought. Like I feel like before social media, like it was a lot more pleasant to watch a movie or a show, and you know what I mean.
Oh,
now it's a little bit like you kind of know too much about them.
You know way too much. We're, I guess, overexposed to that sort of personality.
Yeah, going back to Whoopi Goldberg, I used to watch Ghost and I used to enjoy that movie, and then now I see like The View, and I'm like, God, what an annoying person. You know?
What an annoying C word.
You said it.
Well, maybe not that far.
Yeah.
No, it's true though. It's just, it's too much. It's too much.
It's too much. I know too much.
But do you remember? It wasn't always like this. It wasn't always like this thing here where political opinions mattered so much to someone, or it's like you want to ruin someone's livelihood over it. No,
it just, I mean, honestly, like it's a new thing. It's very new. Even, you know. I mean, it's Trump. It's the day we're in now. You know.
When does it end? That's what I want to know.
I think it's only gonna get worse. Sorry.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
I feel like it will. It's only gonna get worse.
It's terrible, really.
Dark times.
Dark, very dark times indeed. And Vanessa, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program as well. It's always,
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you here and to discuss all sorts of things with you here.
Yay.
Yeah, and by the way, are there any other movies that you look forward to watching besides the Terminator?
Well, I still want to see the Pokemon movie, the Pikachu movie.
By the way, I forgot to get one last image up here.
Okay.
That is of one Sarah Connor. Look at that face.
I'm waiting for it.
You see it now?
No.
Up in the chat room
fire.
there?
I see a fire. Oh, there she is.
There she is. Look at that.
I'm going to tell you. I don't think she's had any work done. I think that's her aging like normally. She looks a little rough.
Yeah, you mentioned to me that her voice has changed substantially over time, correct?
Yes, she definitely smokes maybe.
Like a pack a day?
Oh, I think probably more. A case, maybe.
You think she's like a 2-pack a day girl?
Yeah, definitely. Her voice, in part one, you see her voice is like really nice and like she was younger, but part two, you know, she has a deep voice, but now she sounds like a man.
She looks kind of like a man too.
She's a bit masculine.
A little bit masculine there.
Yeah, she's 62. She doesn't. I don't think she has any work done. I really don't. Like, not even a little bit.
Oof.
She looks a little rough.
Yeah, looking a little rough there.
Yeah.
Looking a little rough. And by the way, does Arnold make a cameo?
That I told you he does. Yes, he filmed in the trailer. He comes out for like 1 second, but you know they're saving that.
I hope he comes out for a little bit longer.
Oh no, definitely. There's photos of him like shooting and supposedly I'm not 100% sure, but there are like rumors that he's not a robot in the movie.
Really? I didn't read that part.
Yeah, there's rumors that that's like him, like he's human, and I guess that's like his human form or whatever.
Wow.
So we shall see. That is
actually a badass photo of her though.
Yeah, no, she's definitely very cool.
Asuka Langley says she looks like the ladies that hang out at the gas station slot machine rooms.
Yeah, she looks like she's been through stuff. She looks like she smells like an ashtray.
Looks like she lost her welfare check playing the Flaming Sevens.
Oh wow.
Pretty deep there.
Asuka's very
going deep in there, huh?
Yeah. Is Asuka a guy or a girl?
I think it might be a guy.
Yeah, it's probably a guy.
It's probably a guy, but I don't know what they prefer, or I don't know what they identify as, so we can't be...
Oh, that's right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what bathroom they go into.
Yeah, Asuka could be a toaster. It could be a microwave.
They could
2019.
They could identify as all sorts of things, really.
Yeah.
Ain't that amazing?
It's crazy, but also kind of funny.
I went to a mall.
It's a little bit fun.
I went to a mall in San Diego maybe 2 years ago, and the bathroom sign was a little bit confusing. I didn't know which bathroom to go into.
Really?
They had all these weird signs on there.
Yeah, because you're in California.
That's right. I was just like, wait, what's going on here? Is this the right bathroom?
Our bathrooms are still, at least here, our bathrooms are still men, women, and handicap.
I was confused. I'm not going to lie to you.
That is confusing.
I don't have anything against the gays or the lesbians, the dykes, the hermaphrodites, the trannies, all the above.
LGBTQ barbecue.
Yeah, I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
If you want to rock it that way, that's fine with me. I'm not going to get angry at you. But when I went to that mall out there in San Diego, I was just like, whoa, which bathroom am I in?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But yeah, that's a bit of a change that's going on out here in California for those that don't know. And Vanessa, I'm looking at the time here.
Mm-hmm.
We are slowly running out of time.
Okay.
But Vanessa, that was fun, right?
Always fun.
Didn't time just fade away?
Yeah, when you told me we had like an hour and 20 minutes, I was like, okay, that's a long time. How are we going to fill it up? And here we are.
Yeah, it's already over.
It's over.
It was great. And the audio sounded fine. You sounded great.
Yay. Thank you.
That was a great time. And I want to thank you for joining me this evening. The official Florida news correspondent, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. She did a great job here. And yeah, there's your round of applause there.
I had a sound. I love a sound bite for me.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah, it all worked out in the end. And
thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much for being a part of the program. That was a great time. That was fun. I'm sure many people enjoyed that very much. And of course, I hope all is going well for you out there in the 305.
Yes, I'm still alive. My face has not been eaten by any zombies.
Alive and kicking.
Yeah, and I don't have the Zika virus.
The Zika virus.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, Vanessa, I do want to thank you again for being a part of the program. That was great. Love that bit there. Love the 305 news with you. We'll definitely do it again very shortly. And Vanessa, stay safe out there.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Vanessa, take care and good night.
Good night. Bye.
All right, mahalo. And there she goes, ladies and gentlemen. That was Vanessa, the official 305 correspondent. And of course, I do want to thank my first guest. That would be Mr. Ken Klien. And of course, I do want to thank all of you out there this evening for being a part of the program. Just because I'm sitting in this chair does not mean that you out there listening to the sound of my voice are not as equally as important. You are what makes things tick here. Believe it or not, you are the vital part of the program, not just me. Can't do it without all of you out there either. So I do thank all of you in the chat room, and of course those that do listen on the replay. I also want to remind all of you out there, if you enjoy the program and want to help fund the program, which I would really sincerely want all of you to do, there is a donation button on the right hand of your screen over at michaeldeacon.com. If you can definitely donate any amount, whatever you have around, all the money goes directly to pay for equipment here. Anything does truly help to keep the ball rolling. And of course, that goes for all of you out there who have donated. I truly appreciate you tremendously. Those that have donated to the program, you guys have helped keep the ball rolling here. And of course, once I certainly feel everything is back to normal here, which I think everything is, I will now focus back on the Patreon page. And I do have some things in mind. I will be releasing exclusive content for those on the Patreon there. Those episodes will be completely uncensored. There will not be any sort of censorship whatsoever on those programs, completely uncensored. I will be releasing multiple shows a week for those that join, but it does depend on the number of Patreon members. If I acquire a high number of Patreon subscribers, I will definitely focus solely on putting more episodes out there for all of you. Oh yes. And of course, as we bring this here home tonight, I want to pay my respects to all the listeners out there, of course, in the live chat. For those that do listen on a replay, keep in mind that this is a live show. And I'd like all of you to actually be in here during the live show. It's a lot of fun, I do promise. Oh, I promise you, it's a lot more fun to listen to the show live here. And of course, international listeners out there, thank you so much for being a part of the program yet again. Oh yes, thank you so much for being here, international listeners. Thank you so much. Stay safe, no matter where you are on this island Earth. I'm Michael Deacon. I'll see you again very soon. And with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, good night, everybody.